to the outside. He can't get there. Kevin King is going to win the Barr FTF Cup Series.
Into the lead. Bud gets wrecked in front of the pack. He saves it. 3-4 wide as they come to the white flag.
Here comes Vargas down on the apron. They are 5 wide. Ian Plash will win it at the line. Is this package? Oh, there goes Jordan Lopez Jr. That's your race leader. Caution flag is out.
Still no one willing to give up as they're going to be dead even off of the first chicane.
Oh, he saves it. What's going to happen here? Here comes the canvas. Oh, get your front there.
He's got it. He's got it. Get there, no.
This is going to win.
FTF.GG's coverage of round 25 of the Barr Visuals FTF Cup Series finds us in virtual Darlington, South Carolina, as we now count down towards the start of the playoffs here for the Kick in the Tires Southern 500K at Darlington. Throwback night for the Barr Visuals FTF Cup Series. Good evening, everybody. I'm Caleb Hoffman. Joining me shortly will be David Kreutz, Zach Johnson up in the booth as normal. And as you see, we're gridding, so I'm going to get this starting grid really quickly here for you. As you can see, front row with Malik Ray. He's had an incredible time. He'll start on the pole with Daniel Buttafuoco alongside him, who's been on a hot streak lately. Brian Mercurio in row number 2 with Drew Jewett at his outside. Parker White, row number 3 with Daniel Falkingham starting in the 6th position. Seth Knoll, row 4. Sebastian Marin to his outside in 8th. We'll go Grant Bolin and Sander Nyhoff round out your top 10 here, and we'll let the rest run for you. See where everybody's starting here tonight. Is pace car should be coming off shortly. We'll find ourselves to the green flag. 228 laps here tonight in the Kick in the Tires Southern 500K. And it is sure to be a fun one here from the Darlington Raceway. Malik Ray, Daniel Buttafuoco lead the Barr Visuals FTF Cup Series field to the green flag. Malik Ray does a fantastic job down the backstretch, clearing Daniel Buttafuoco. Falkingham going to find his way into the 3rd position. Brian Mercurio, Parker White, your top 5 as of now. Field coming out of 4. Leader of the first lap's going to be Malik Ray as they head down the front straightaway. Look at him fanning out back here. 3 wide for short time. Typically don't want to do that here at Darlington. Lawson Peel had a really close call. Michael Guest right up there to his outside. You see him still fanning out a little bit. Oh, one car, a little bit of contact a little further in the back. That is the number 17, Devin Mistak. He'll get away cleanly, and we will continue green flag racing, but still all over the place right now. People backing out of the pack a little further in the back. Kevin McAdams is one of them, just got out of the throttle and pulled down to the apron. Said, I'll let everybody else do this, but I'm not doing this on lap 2. Oh, P. Frisch just tagged the wall in the backstretch a little bit as well. See him off the pace in his throwback colors tonight. Again, here at Darlington, we got a few people participating in the throwbacks. Really fun colors all throughout the field. Aren't your traditional. Parker White as well inside the top 5. Haven't seen much movement so far from this top 5. As soon as I say that, I believe Sander Nyhoff. Excuse me, no, that's to the inside of Sebastian Marin. A little further up. Everybody looks to be, again, just kind of a conservative approach right now. Now joining us for the first time tonight, going to be color commentator in David. How are you doing tonight?
We're doing great right now. We just got things started here at Darlington and making it in 5 laps late. already got a lot going on. Malik Ray's got that big advantage right now on Buttafuoco, Falkingham in third. So far, a lot of drivers, as you mentioned, playing it a bit more conservative. We see little up and down movement inside the top 10, but not too much at the moment, so nothing major. We're going to see some drivers sort of wait it out for the time being, and as things go on, certainly going to get a bit more dicey. 228 laps. You don't want to risk it all in the first 10, I'll tell you that much.
Absolutely, and we didn't get too much time to cover it before the race actually started here. You see one car going to the outside. That's that number 93, Graham Bolin, in that car tonight. And he's trying to get to the outside of Parker White. But as mentioned, 228 laps here from Darlington. It's going to be a super long, super grueling race. I mean, this is a notorious racetrack for being just demanding from you all night.
And certainly, Darlington will eat at you every single lap, and we see some drivers trying to take it to the outside here, and some guys will tell you it's a 1.5 groove track. You gotta be on that optimal groove or you're gonna be in an awful lot of trouble. They mostly say that about being down low, but if you can rip that high side, you can make time. I mean, you'll see there on the high side, we're gonna have Armstrong moving right up top. Looks like he's almost got the pass going. They'll be side by side once again. If you can make that top work, you'll get that better run off the exit and make the pass. Looks like Armstrong makes it through there. Nice and easy maneuver, and he'll leave the rest right behind.
Yeah, Sander Nyhoff really had to get out of the throttle there. Armstrong put him in a pretty tough position there and just had to get out of the throttle, like you said. Not going to win this race on lap 10, so he's got to play it smart so far. Nyhoff back down to the inside. And this is your first battle really on the racetrack right now. Everybody else has retained single file formation from the beginning of this thing.
There was heads-up driving for Sander to back off there. Of course, like you said, very early. You do not want to kill everything very early indeed. So right now for Sander, going to take it down to the bottom side. If Armstrong goes for it, you might as well let him. It's just going to be the way it goes.
Oh, a little bit of contact! And now Jack Mason's going to get into him, turns Sander Nyhoff into the inside wall. No caution yet, but he's going to slide back up into the field, and now the caution will wave. First caution of the night, and it's Sander Nyhoff, Jack Mace making contact on the front straightaway. And a bunch of not happy drivers over the radio now. One of them, Sander Nyhoff, after looks like he might be getting a tow here, and we'll take a look at what happened here. That's just what happens when you race for too long side by side at Darlington.
That's the risk of it, and with being so early, it just doesn't make sense. Too little room, both drivers contact, and it looks like it'll be decked out of the inside. Sander Nyhoff gets the worst of it. Luckily, nobody else gets caught up, and I can see a reason for not being happy at all. You got the rookie stripes there trying to get a good run going, and it looks like for Sander, it might have all been taken away just off that. Armstrong comes a bit further down, then gets decked to the inside. Very hard hit. You do not want to see that so early, and those are the consequences of being aggressive at the beginning of a race. Just like that, Sander Nyhoff might have the race go down the drain in a moment's notice.
And meanwhile, we have some action on pit lane. Few takers from our lead group. Parker White thought about it, but did a little fake out. Looks like first car on the pit lane is going to be Daniel Buttafuoco, and we'll see if this is really a diverging point for strategy tonight. We got 70% fuel capacity in the tanks, and first stage going to be at lap number 60 tonight.
And that's an especially important point to mention here. Darlington strategy could be everything. If the tires get worn away, you don't want to regret it. So some drivers coming in right now, namely looking right at Daniel Buttafuoco. And it looks like a few other drivers already going to be on the move as we see the race off pit road. Buttafuoco going to be still idle. It looks like from that point onward, multiple drivers going to beat him out. And it looks like we've got a multitude coming through. Looks like the number 63 on the way as I'm still getting my information right up. Just like that, multiple passes made on pit road, so the lead battle is going to change big time.
Yeah, Logan Helt in that first car using an Evernham throwback here tonight. Josh Chin as well. Lawson Peel, who we saw getting a little bit sideways. Looks like, for the most part, a lot of our leaders stayed out. First car that pitted cycled out again in Logan Helt and Sebastian Mayer, and they are about 17th right now. Everybody further up has decided to stay out here under this first caution. Only lap 12, so didn't get an opportunity to put too much wear on those tires. But could have some repercussions a little later on in terms of fuel strategy. But again, could have ourselves a diverting point here for everybody.
That's the question right now for those leaders. Do you want to stay up in front, keep that track position, wait for later for pit road? Maybe that's the best thing to do. We see the sun is, of course, setting in the backdrop, so maybe the gamble is tires won't wear as much as we come to the nighttime sky. Won't be worth it going in early. You want to sacrifice it early, maybe that you just don't want to. It's a back and forth. It's a big trade-off, so some drivers thinking for the future here, maybe Malik Ray, Daniel Falkingham, those up in front who chose not to pit, are seeing it in that regard. Wait till it's night, more consistent track conditions. Things are changing right now. You don't want to risk it on the difference. As we see the weather on the bottom right of your screen, 87 Fahrenheit track temperature, air temp is 82, so it's almost dead even there, and I expect it to get a bit closer as the night goes on here, and the weather's showing you very fair as is, gonna get even cooler as the race goes on.
They had an opportunity there for Zach's favorite graphic as the field coming to the green. Pace car is dipped back down onto the pit lane, and Malik Ray will enter the restart zone. Daniel Falkingham going to have a chance here, maybe no. Great start for Malik Ray as he leads the field back to green. He's led all 13 laps of the Southern 500K so far.
And Malik going to lead him with a nice start there. Falkingham not going to be able to get the same jump. Going to be in second, 0.3 of a second off. Single file for almost every driver. One going to go round, and it looks like it's going to be back of the field. A bumper goes flying, and the number 43, some huge trouble. And no caution is going to come of it. One down to pit road. Caleb, let's get a bit more information on that.
Yeah, that was Tyler Williams, and he is immediately taking a tow. That car was destroyed. No caution, though. He was able to clear the racing lane, and it was far enough back there that the FTF admins decided that didn't need a caution, and I think a good call there. You see the rest of the field right now has continued marching on, and again, seeing very similarly to what we saw in that first run. Lots of single file so far. Now, looks like caution's going to be out. There's one car in the wall. It might be Logan Helton. Or no, it's going to be Joshua Chin in the 93, excuse me. He goes around in turn number 3, and we'll try to get a replay there, but that was already pretty hectic.
Joshua Chin with some trouble, already trouble brewing on the second run. Of course, as you mentioned, Tyler Williams with it. And it looks like, as we go back once again, we're going to take first a look at that number 43, and it looks like coming through, oh, he just gets loose and makes it down. And that's going to be the first incident, and then we saw the second, of course, with Joshua that you mentioned immediately after.
And this is looking, he's got Daniel Buttafuoco. Might be a slight check up there. I believe this is going to be the next lap here as he's down the front straightaway. His incident, you see a little further back right here. And it looks like Buttafuoco going to try to go down to the inside and just turns him. I don't know if that was Chin coming down or Buttafuoco maybe getting involved there. Either way, Joshua Chin's the one that's going to go around from it. I'll try to get an alternate angle of that to see whether or not that was on Chin or Buttafuoco.
And this is when you begin to question how risky these drivers going. And you're right, getting a second angle here from the sky. And I'm not quite sure. It looks like Buttafuoco makes the original instance of contact, but it's too close to call. Still risky racing early.
And hard to dissect there, but I think maybe a little bit of internet-assisted contact there. As you see Joshua Chin there in his pit box. Either way, under caution here for the second time at the virtual Darlington Raceway. Malik Ray leads after 17 laps. We'll see you on the other side of this break. Welcome back to FTF.GG's coverage of the Kick in the Tire Southern 500K at the Darlington Raceway, round 25 of the Barr Visuals FTF Cup Series. Caleb Hoffman here, David Coitz alongside me here in the booth. And David, already 2 cautions in the first 20 laps. You think we're going to see that for the rest of this thing, or you think we might get a green flag run in here?
I'd hate to say it sets the tone, but the way we've been looking at it, aggressive racing early, and it's been at the front of the field. Of course, we saw the incident, of course, with the driver of the number 115. Now it looks like way far off the field. Sander Niehoff involved, and of course, Tyler Williams we saw. Daniel Buttafuoco seems to be off of the track as well, so maybe some decisions being made after that most recent incident. All the drivers involved with incidents are now at the back. Joseph Armstrong as well. They were up there. I mean, the first incident was in the top 10, and now as we head to another restart, the question is, do we keep that aggression?
Have to wait and see for sure. Right now, Buttafuoco, the first car, a few laps down. He is currently 2 laps down, running 42nd after that last caution. Malik Ray leads us back to the green flag, and he will lead the field into turn number 1. Again, a fantastic start from Malik Ray. Is hoping to have a great performance here tonight. Daniel Falkingham, Brian Mercurio, Parker White, and Seth Knoll, your top 5.
And you're right, Malik Ray gets these jumps, and he just goes. It's very good so far in regards to getting those starts. Falkingham clawing him down just a bit more, but not much you can do on those immediate launches. That's what kept him in the lead with our most recent caution, and again, he's got it out in front by 0.2 of a second when we cross the line.
And Malik Ray certainly hoping to just drive away right now. I mean, Daniel Falkingham, we know that he knows how to drive at these sorts of racetracks. Mercurio as well. Both of them have had so much speed all season long. And again, I think mostly throughout the top 10, the mindset's just drive it conservatively and try not to tear your race car up.
100%. There's so much more to race for here with 228 laps on the board. We've hardly gotten through that first 28. Now up to lap 22, of course, we're getting through laps at this rate, but there's quite a lot ahead of us here, so you do not want to give away your opportunities so early. If there's passes, there's passes. I mean, we saw, of course, with Joseph Armstrong, he was one of those a bit riskier. He's now on 35th. You cannot afford to be as aggressive and risky as those who are fighting for every position, every point. Right now, that's not the way it is up in front, as the top 5 are separate by 0.6 of a second.
Absolutely. And one guy inside this top 5 I've really had my eye on as the, again, this is the penultimate race before the playoffs. We have tonight, and then we're going to Daytona, and we're done. And it's immediately playoff time here. And one guy who's having a fantastic run so far here, up inside the top 5 right now, Seth Knoll. He currently runs inside. Right now is 5th, and his competition, he's the first car on the bubble, running 17th of a 16-car playoff grid. His opponent right now, Sebastian Marin, who's running 13th right now. So if Knoll keeps this up, he'll definitely make up some ground on his playoff competition.
I've seen quite a lot of Seth in my own broadcast, and he is one of the quicker drivers in any field that he steps into. 2023 Lights champion, as you probably all know, but right now that playoff battle is especially stacked. So having a top 5 run is especially important in its own regard. If you can keep it up there throughout the entirety of the race, even collect some of those stage points. We got stages on the way without cautions. Keeping it here with that track position, it is crucial. And right now, Seth's doing exactly what he needs to do, right behind some of the best in the business: Parker White, Mercurio, Falkingham, and Malik Ray.
Malik Ray, he's had 2 wins so far on the season, and then hoping to notch a 3rd here tonight. He is not in playoff contention. He's currently 28th in points, would have to point his way in, and it is not mathematically possible for him despite his 2 wins right now. Again, I think everybody's just trying to make it to the end of the stage if you're up inside this top 5, top 10-ish area. Currently right now, just about 35 laps away from that mark. Lap 60, the end of stage 1.
So far, this first stage finally getting a bit of a longer run. Looks like a bit more consistency from the drivers up ahead. Nobody trying any funny business. You can see there's a bit of a gap after the first 7-8 drivers. Looks like it's going to be Jack Mace in that 9th spot who holds off, and then from there, a bit of a gap. So maybe we're going to see a bit more of the conservative driving we expected with these first few stages in play. You don't want to risk it, and so far, drivers up ahead are going with more of that same mentality, which will get us through to the later stages that much quicker.
Yeah, looking right now at Wyatt Tinsley, he has the number 22 machine of Alex Kolinick's all over that rear bumper in the Quick Trip Toyota. And Tinsley locked into the playoffs, doesn't have anything to worry about, just trying to, collect some momentum as you head into the playoff picture. And it's so important to get that momentum and start off your playoff run on a good foot.
And that's something Wyatt Tinsley desperately needs. The last few races for him have not been as good. Of course, he is locked in, as you mentioned, but coming into the night with a 38th place finish. Before that, 26th. So he's not been as hot as of recent. Being up in front is a big thing with the final few rounds of the regular season in mind. Getting himself back on the right foot means an awful lot. In a playoff situation, momentum is everything. You can turn the underdogs to the champions and vice versa. So right now, maybe Wyatt Tinsley is getting back into the swing of things with a solid 7th place at the moment.
And Wyatt Tinsley right now, look at him looking down to the inside. Going into turn 3, Garrett Conrath just going to give him that spot, I think, and Tinsley's going to slide up in front, complete that pass. Just textbook here at Darlington, what you got to do, and does a fantastic job. He's trying to inch closer to the top 5 right now.
And that's an example of exactly how you have to do it here in Darlington. It didn't take long. It wasn't all too risky. He made the move. He did it quickly and did it swiftly. There was nothing more that came of it. And just like that, Tinsley makes the pass. And that's an example of just being respectful. Right now, Jack Mace going to take it down to the bottom side. Looks like Mace going to get over Alex Kolnick. That's another quick look at how you got to pass around here. You cannot spare a second, or you'll be caught up in a laps-long battle that can end with you losing multiple spots or even ending up in the wall. Cautions can come for these types of passes. If you can't get them done fast, you might as well not get them done at all.
And really been impressed so far with Jack Mace. You remember back to that first caution, he was involved with Sander Nyhoff, and hasn't let it affect him too much. As you see, that was Graham Bolin looking down to the inside at Jonathan Oates, who's in a I don't even know what it's definitely not his normal car. Maybe like a 70s-ish throwback, something like that.
Now, he posted about this throwback online. I'll get the information for you in specific, but from my memory, this is an endurance car from, as you mentioned, the 1970s. Going to get Oates' information right now. I know he put the specifics up. It's a beautiful paint scheme, and it's quite the interesting throwback. So looking back on what he said online, the number 73 machine, blue and green, it's got a special look to it, and right now, he's running very competitively. So I'll throw it back to you
caution
here
on
as we
the
have a caution.
racetrack. Yeah, wrecking a little further in the back right now, and you see one car off the pace. I believe that might be Jamie Ritchie Price, maybe Art Reimer.
If we look further back, I'd have to agree those drivers fading back on time. Reimer might have been involved, so we'll take a quick look back here as we're still trying to figure out, pick up the pieces and see what caused this yellow.
I think it might have been Aaron Riolo. This is a little further up. That's a little bit of contact, and then, yeah, you see that a little further back. Slight bit of contact, and multiple cars around on the backstretch had that caution thrown. 109 machine for Aaron Riolo tonight. And didn't get all the way turned around, but did get pretty significant contact with the wall there.
Ewenson is there at once. I think that might have influenced the call. Riola's still on the way. You saw Joseph Armstrong involved with a near slide just ahead. And right now, most drivers coming down to pit road, so the decision is nearly unanimous. Time to get that race on a pit road. Strategy already going to be in minds of the drivers as they take it through for the first time, many of them.
And a lot of them trying to split this first 60-lap stage in half. Only one car stayed out there, as you see Malik Ray, everybody else down on the pit lane. But Ryan Nawrocki staying out now inherits the lead in the 26 machine. And he's got a fun throwback, as do all of the Mickey Mouse Clubhouse cars. We'll see who wins the race off here. Can it be Malik Ray? Going to be close there, but just barely. Malik Ray, and I believe that's Graham Bolin that he beats to the line.
Bolin gives him a run for the money there. What a close race off pit road. Malik keeps almost all that track position, but you're right, Ryan Nawrocki is choosing to stay on the track here, maybe going to get those extra points leading a lap. That might be the move here. Otherwise, not quite sure. He's on a 34-lap stint. Now every other driver in the field has gone down to pit road at least once, save for Sander Niehoff, who, as we mentioned, has disconnected from the server. Pit road is certainly in session here, and it looks like Ryan's the only driver not a part of it until now.
And Nawrocki takes this opportunity to come down, and he is in that playoff hunt right now, sits 12th in the point standings. You see that number 26 machine donned in the petty blue. I believe this is a mid-2000s era throwback back to Cheerios, that kind of era 43 car for Ryan Naraki here tonight, but might be onto something, trying to lead a lap there, maybe accrue just a few extra bonus points. Anything helps at this point, because doubt he'll lose 5 spots in the next 2 races, but still plausible for that number 26 machine, just trying to build that buffer up. Either way, Malik Ray, Graham Boland, Brian Mercurio, Parker White, and Daniel Falkingham, your current top 5 after 35 laps here at Darlington.
And Malik Ray keeps that position. Most of those who are up in front stay there. And before the caution came out, we were talking about Jonathan Oates. So I found the information he was talking about with the paint scheme. It's a throwback to Martini Racing and their Porsche 714 in the 1970 24 Hours of Le Mans. So that's what Jonathan Oates is representing on his number 73 in this race. 35 laps in, he's scored in 13th, so a bit of work to do to be up there in the top 5, but still a solid performance so far for the driver, who now is on the frame. It's a definitely different look. You don't seem like that anymore. Almost 50 plus years of history, and for first 4 racing, up 3 spots on the day, currently in 13th.
And he has just a little bit of work, but having a good run, a clean run, I think, is the important aspect of that. I mean, again, Darlington's so notorious for just being a tough place to race at. Obviously, the Darlington stripes. You're not going to see any of those tonight, but we'll see cars certainly tag this wall, and we have seen it a few times displayed already tonight at Darlington Raceway.
And that Darlington stripe as iconic as ever. Most drivers want to avoid it, but it's a part of the way this track drives. If you get up there up top, you're going to face a stripe or two at the end of the race. Most drivers are going to experience it. Right now, I don't think Malik Ray and the leaders have, as they make it down the Boeing backstretch once again. Malik Ray in control for another single file restart. He has been amazing on these starts so far. Let's see what he's got in store for us once again as we take it back at lap 37.
And Malik's, like you said, been so incredible on these starts so far all night. And we'll see if Graham Boland has anything to say about that so far. Going to be Malik Ray and Graham Boland. 36 laps here at Darlington, leading the field back to green. And once again, look at Malik Ray as he's jumped out. That's 2, maybe 3 car lengths in front of Graham Boland.
And another great Malik Ray start. I think this is the best he's had all race long. Graham Boland has not been as far up front as Malik and those just behind, so looks like he's not going to get the same command off the restart, and Malik going to stretch that advantage once again. Power of that track position, and Malik leads by a wide margin, and he's going to take it down to the stripe with 3/10 to spare, now up to lap 38.
Malik Ray still holds this lead. Graham Boland following suit right now. Looks like most of the field looks like the first car, Garrett Conrath, might have actually just tagged the wall. Was going to say they were not fanning out too far in the back, but that has changed now as Alex Kolnick surges down to the inside of Jack Mace a little further ahead. This is all caused by Garrett Conrath, who tagged the wall in turns 1 last time. And now Jack Mace looks like he might be freight train down on the inside. Kolnick, Sebastian Marin, both there.
That's the risk of that outside line with no momentum. If you have to go up top, you've got to have speed to go right there with it. And just like that, Mace is going to get shuffled out of line. The high side doesn't work in his favor that time through. He's still in the top 10 here, so not much lost overall, but he'd certainly love to be back where he was just a few moments ago. A big pass there. You saw Kolnick get by, Garrett Conrath, Wyatt Tinsley now just ahead. We'll see if Jack Mace has a bit more for them, but with so much still to go, maybe he's prepared to get back up there later in the race.
Tinsley came super close to tagging the wall there in turn 1. Garrett Conrath got right out on that rear bumper. Wyatt Tinsley had a fantastic drive off, though, and he accrued a little bit of a gap back to Garrett Conrath, who's still going to attempt to try to get to the inside of Tinsley. We've seen some calamity because of that tonight. Looks like Conrath not quite going to be able to stick it. They'll go back single file as they were. Again, it looks like about this top 10, 15-ish maybe, all in that single file formation still.
Luckily going to think better of it there, and that's exactly what you got to do to keep that green flag run going. A lot of drivers seem to not be able to handle the 2x2 racing for at least a long period of time. Jack Mace going to go up high once again, looking for something, but not going to find it just yet, as he keeps himself just ahead. One driver going to go way down low, and we're looking at some trouble, as it's going to be pit road, maybe an unscheduled stop.
Yeah, Matt Spalding getting down on the pit lane there, and this is also a notorious racetrack for it's hard to get on to pit lane. Spalding there opted to just get on the apron in turns 3 and 4, get that card slowed down. Unscheduled stop for that 7 machine here tonight. Malik Ray still has the lead right now. Graham Boland, Brian Mercurio, Parker White, and Daniel Falkingham, your top 5 as they run right now. And again, all these drivers, I think, have been doing an incredible job of not only keeping it out of the wall, but keeping it off each other, and it's so hard to do that.
It's got to be very hard, but with so many of these drivers being at the top level of oval sim racing, you got to wonder how close they are a lap time. I mean, I'm bringing up the times right now based on the last lap. Malik Ray and Parker White's lap times were separate by only 4 1,000ths of a second. They're just about dead even. They're absolutely as close as they can get right now, so it might be a bit easier actually to bring each other off of one another just because of that. But keeping it this quick off of the wall, that's a whole different story, especially when you're pushing for position. Some drivers, they tend to wash up to that wall, pushing a bit too hard, but these drivers not having that issue right now. 44 laps in, and they are still as consistent as ever, and all of a sudden, Malik Ray has got a bit more pressure.
And again, everybody retaining formation for right now. Last 4 laps, I say it this time, but looks like Brian Mercurio right now, he's been the fastest car on the racetrack for about the last 4 laps. That time he was just about 5 thousandths off Malik Ray, but he's been putting together some really good laps right now. Grant Boland as well, and you can see that because Grant Boland all over the back bumper now of Malik Ray, trying to get just to that back bumper so he can maybe peek out, make a move, and looks like down the front straightaway he will. Here comes Grant Boland trying to take the lead from Malik Ray. We haven't seen anybody successfully do this so far. Side by side, Malik Ray right up against that wall. Car out of control. At it 2, Boland wiggles just a little bit. They're still going to be side by side.
Malik Ray going to face the first big sign of pressure all race long. Down to the bottom once again. Graham Boland going to take it. He's still got himself door to door at the line. Going to be a drag race with some contact here. So close, almost too close to call. I think Boland might have got that lap. It's unbelievably, the distance is almost nothing. You could wrap these two in a blanket as they come through 1 and 2 all the same.
Masterful stuff here from Graham Boland and Malik Ray. Graham trying to run him as close to that wall as possible in the corners here. He's trying to get him to get out of the throttle here, and Malik Ray's just not having it. Still side by side, and wasn't sure they were going to stay like this. Again, just incredible stuff from these two right now.
And they're still dead even. Boland's got a bit of more of an advantage that time around, but these two are putting on a great show. Malik, we thought all hope was lost, but he's keeping that high side alive. Graham Boland thought it might have been a bit easier, but that's not the case much longer. Side by side, down the Boeing back straightaway once again. Malik's got a bit more through, but maybe through the turns, Graham's got it back.
So hard to run at this racetrack, just not really conducive to much side-by-side racing with how wide it is, and it's not very narrow racetrack, and that's why you're not seeing Brian Mercurio here making a move despite being faster, because of these two just being all over each other right now. And look at this from Graham Boland. He puts Malik Ray up there. Malik Ray gets out of the throttle. One car off track a little further in the back, though. Don't believe there's going to be a caution resulting from it, though, and that's Brady Weileman.
And Brady looks to be able to get back on the move there, getting out of the groove. Not much more comes of it. No caution going to fly. And it looks like now Weileman going to get back on the track, so might have just gotten a bit off the line through the exit of a turn, but nothing more. And it looks like the lead battle going to persist. Now, you mentioned Brian Mercurio right back there on the bumper of the leaders, and maybe right now it's best to be behind. Seeing the other two drivers ahead of you jockeying for that position, putting each other through a bit more strain, that that might be the best thing to do as the third driver. If those leaders are side by side and they make a mistake, if you can react to it, you can take those positions and run all the way till the end. It's a long distance, but if that were to happen later, that would be the key to success for any driver just behind the leaders. Looks like Graham Boland's found his key, and he's taking the lead by a wider margin, almost as wide as Malik Ray on those restarts.
And right now, 2 tenths faster the last 2 times by for Graham Boland than his second and third counterparts in Malik Ray and Brian Mercurio. And Mercurio even putting pressure on Malik Ray now, not helping this group, because Graham Boland is just cleanly driving away from him right now. And that's not what you want to see if you're a Malik Ray, a Brian Mercurio, even a little further back if you're Parker White or Daniel Falkingham.
And most definitely, that number 93 is as quick as it can get. And right now, driving faster and faster each and every lap. But then you begin to wonder, do the track conditions have something to do with this? Most often in races like this, the driver who's the quickest when the sun is still shining will not be the quickest at the end. Right now on the track, we don't see much sun shining, but it certainly is not dark. The stadium lighting has not come out here at Darlington, so there's certainly still a lot of change to be seen. Some drivers making some moves, but for leader Graham Boland, will he have what it takes to adapt as the night goes on? Now looking back at the number 48 machine of Sebastian Marin, he's going to be fighting with Garrett Conrath, just ahead of Garrett as it stands.
Sebastian Marin, currently that last car in the top 10, and Garrett Conrath, we saw him up inside the top 5 earlier, and after that cycle of pit stops, finds himself in 11th, and he's trying to crawl his way back up. And haven't seen a lot from the guys on fresher tires. Looks like, for the most part, everybody again on that same strategy right now, but still got to be cognizant of it here. Coming to the end of stage number 1 here in the next 6 laps, and then, you know, what do you do? Do you pit as soon as the stage is over, or you try to cut it in half again? What do you think the play is?
I think it might come down to the playoff situation for some drivers here. Maybe going long is best for a driver, going for the race victory, but at the same time, pit stops are going to be crucial. It's going to be back and forth. There's drivers who are already locked in, drivers who can't mathematically make it into the playoffs, some drivers on the bubble. I mean, we're seeing the number 1 machine of Seth Knoll. He's right there. He's just out of the bubble. He's going to have to go for these playoff points. He might have to follow the leaders or do his own thing. It all depends on the way this race comes through in the second stage. Will there be yellow flags? Will we stay green? Is this the flow of the race for the future, or is it going to go back to the chaos we saw early? Right now, it's a bit more unpredictable, and with points on the line, those playoff points are so crucial, and no stage cautions, it's still going to be very hard to tell, especially with just a few laps before that stage.
And looks like we might have one more coming down the pit lane here, but you saw that 1 point evaporate in front of Seth Knoll. Dylan Basin right now trying to make it 2. And again, starting to open up that window. See, this is the battle between Dylan Basin. He's in the throwback Jimmy Johnson color. Seth Knoll is actually going to tag the wall in turn 1 there, gets him backed up. And a little bit of contact just for a second. Here comes Alex Kolonix as well. Basin has to get out of the throttle. Going into turn 3, somehow Seth Knoll saves it. Kolonix and Basin, though, all over each other. Now Kolonix going to have to get out of the throttle.
And the heat is on for Seth Knoll right there. Absolutely barely able to hang on. Luckily for his sake, keeps it going. Multiple drivers coming to try to take that spot away. Dylan Basin's now in play in the 8th spot. You see Sebastian Marin there. Even Jack Mace now having a chance to get a spot or two down on the low side. And he makes contact with Kolonix. Once again losing some time, and Jack Mace trying to get a bit more advantageous, and it's not going to come in his favor. Jonathan Oates gets by, and Mace fading back almost outside the top 15.
And this is good news for everybody that is well inside the top 10 right now. All this battling happening behind Alex Kolonix, who currently runs 11th, and is just killing their chances as we have 2 laps to go in stage number 1. Still, Graham Boland driving away from Malik Ray as they run right now. And Graham Boland not in the playoff picture at all, is coming through turns 3 and 4. Malik Ray needs points desperately, but again, not mathematically possible for him to participate in the playoffs. He currently runs 28th in standings. Looks like Brian Mercurio, Parker White, Daniel Falkingham, these 3 really on the back end of the top 5 are really going to be going the most for these additional points going into the playoffs as they head down the backstretch into turn 3 for what's going to be the final time in stage number 1. don't think Malik Ray is going to have anything for him. Out of turn number 4, Grant Boland's going to pick up stage number 1 in the Kicking the Tires Southern 500K. And your top 10 here. Grant Boland obviously with the win. Malik Ray running second fiddle right now, but still a great run for him. Brian Mercurio third, Parker White, Daniel Falkingham, your top 5. Wyatt Tinsley 6th, Seth Noel we saw in that battle there 7th, Dylan Basin 8th, Sebastian Marin in the 9th position, and Garrett Conrath rounds out your top 10 as, again, Grant Boland has the lead here.
And Boland still keeps himself out in front. Stage 1 victory. Of course, great to have that track position. These two drivers up ahead, they are not driving for the points. They are looking for the checkered flag. Got some full-time contenders right behind. The ever-dominant Parker White has been locked just within the top 5, but nothing more from there. He's been on the win streak coming into tonight, 3 straight in a row, and it would have been 5 straight if he got anything done at Michigan. But so far, it looks like Boland and Malik Ray have locked him down and kept it at the minimum. Still in 4th, hasn't gotten by Brian Mercurio, and we might just see another winner back in play. Parker White has been something else this season, but Grant Boland looks to be the biggest man so far at Darlington as he takes us to the opening laps of Stage 2.
And you mentioned Parker White, his win streak right there, just been on such a tear this season. 10 wins so far on 2023, the all-time record for the Barr Visuals FTF Cup Series, tied currently with Taylor Morgan's 2020 season. So not only is he hunting that checkered flag going into the playoffs, but he's trying to make history before we even get to that final 10-race stretch, solely holding the all-time wins record in a season, which is just, it's just been domination from that 011 machine, and why a lot of these guys inside the top 5, like Brian Mercurio, Brandon Hawken, Michael P. Frisch, Daniel Buttafuoco, these, again, solid contenders inside the top 5, just haven't had that opportunity to win so far this year, as you see Parker White going up really close to the wall there.
And Parker White, I think he's going to etch himself inside the history book even further by the end of season. The way he's gone already, it's almost a certainty he'll get at least one more win. Maybe tonight won't be that night because these two are getting even closer. Malik Ray's now trying to go down low and put a second chapter into the book of battles. He'll go down to the bottom side and take the lead once again. No fight from Grant Boland, and just like that, your former race leaders back at the top.
And Malik Ray, a fantastic move there, and has all of a sudden put Brian Mercurio back in the thick of it. And again, gotta keep an eye on this pit situation right now. Last time we saw everybody come in around lap 30, 35, and right now we are 32 laps in on this stint as we run right now. So do you go for the stage points if you're in the playoffs, or do you try to collect checkered flags? That is the dominating question of the night. Here comes Wyatt Tinsley as he's trying to break his way up inside the top 5.
And Tinsley now going to be right there. That number 54, Daniel Falkingham, fades back, and it looks like it's going to be Falkingham on the losing end of the battle. Tinsley now going to put himself in a much better position for his chances, and he's been up and down the top 10 all night. We saw him battling around the 7th position. He was stuck there for a little while. By the caution, he was in the about 6th spot, but now gained the time back on Falkingham. It's a 2-second separation between Daniel Falkingham and Sebastian Marin right now, and it looks like that's the way it'll stay. The best of the best are up in front, and they're battling Boland right there with Mercurio. Looks like Parker White as well, and Parker White takes it to the bottom side and gets ahead of Graham Boland. Now Boland's fading back, and he might not have enough here in the long run.
Yeah, Boland got really loose there in turns 1 and then let Parker White and Brian Mercurio on by. Here comes Wyatt Tinsley, Falkingham as well. And after leading for so long, picking up a stage win, Graham Boland fading back. And we have a caution on the racetrack, which is certainly going to shake things up. And gotta imagine we see a lot come down the pit lane here. Was on the backstretch. Looks like Drew Jua is around. And you see that 4-car off the pace, and we'll take a look at what happened. But looks like, again, just running out of room at Darlington.
And seeing Drew Jua, David Brown losing a lot of time coming into this caution. So as we're going to try to get a replay of this one here on FTF, some trouble that brings out the caution at lap number 69. Jua, not a nice way to go down off the racing circuit, but all the same, we now got drivers heading to pit road, and it looks like strategy going to be back to normal, equalized as they all come through one after another.
And again, we talked about that we were right in that bubble last time we had a caution, where everybody came down the pit road, and Same thing here. Malik Ray needs everybody on. Brian Mercurio, who just took that second position. Parker White third, Wyatt Tinsley fourth, Daniel Falkingham fifth. That's subject to change as everybody comes on down, but got to imagine it's 4 tires and fuel here for everybody.
No reason to make it any different right now. With everyone down on pit road, you don't want to risk it. I don't think there's a reason. This might not be the money stop, but this is going to be important as well to dictate the second stage. Will someone try to go short? Are there going to be drivers going for a long run? Or, as it stands, maybe nothing else? As some drivers going to be on the move already? Is it going to be Wyatt Tinsley? No. Malik Ray remains out in front. Then it's going to be, just after that, Brian Mercurio, and not too far behind Mercurio looks to be Wyatt Tinsley with Parker White and Daniel Falkingham.
Malik Ray there, Brian Mercurio, Tinsley, you mentioned, all off the pit lane right now, and for the most part, looks like everybody retains where they were. Don't see any major changes, and looks like for everybody, 4 tires and fuel to call. Don't want to set yourself up poorly here in case we get another green flag stint there. We had a string of cautions there at the very beginning, but you know we're coming off a pretty solid green flag run there.
And I said I'd expected a bit more caution, but that, I mean, chaos. But of course, right now, seeing that long green flag run, maybe it's not going to be as chaotic. It looks like a very strong performance for most drivers, especially up ahead. The battle between Malik Ray, Graham Boland, that was as exciting as it could get. But the rest of the field so far, they've been much calmer than I anticipated. And that might be the way it goes right now. I mean, we're looking at Ray, Mercurio, more of the same up in front. Nothing much has changed there. But for the rest of these drivers, it looks like no difference. Brian Mercurio's in the waiting room right now. Caleb, you want to talk to him?
Yeah, going to take a quick moment here before we get this restart to talk to Brian Mercurio. Running second right now, but you were making some moves there towards the end of that stint. You got anything from Malik here?
I don't know. It's all a fine balance of just finding a pace to get into where you can keep up the pace, but you're not pushing the tires too much. I think a lot of us were kind of taking it a little too easy, and the next couple runs we all kind of figured out. And it was kind of right at the point where I think the separation and who saved the best was really just starting to kick in. We're, 30-something laps into that run. So we'll see. Malik was showing some real pace. He played patient behind Graham. Him and Graham went after it for a little bit there. But, yeah, it's really all about patience. As much as you want to go and as much as you think you might have a run, you really got to set these passes up. And so early on, the tires are equal. So, I don't know. We'll see.
Well, appreciate you for speaking to us, and we'll let you get back to it there. Good luck for the rest of this thing, Brian.
Appreciate you, fellas.
It is Brian Mercurio. We are going to take a quick look at what put us under caution. This was David Brown just got a little bit sideways off the exit of turn number 2 and slid right up in front of Drew Jewett, got turned. Brown made big contact with the inside wall. Just a tough break there, and both of them with significant damage here. Here's an alternate look at it. Both number 4 cars right there, but Brown, I think, just loses it off too, and then there goes Jua down for a ride into the infield wall, and both of them with pretty significant damage from that. Brown right now on the racetrack still. Drew Jua, however, sitting on the pit lane for the time being, so we'll try to hope those guys can get that fixed. Either way, pace car off, and Malik Ray once again going to lead us to the green flag. He is big time waiting there, though. And still going to have that big gap that he's had every time he's controlled these restarts with a significantly different approach there. Brian Mercurio retains second right now, but he's got Wyatt Tinsley breathing down his neck.
Malik Ray puts another great restart in, but after that, it's a bit more of a shuffle. You could see a bit of drivers wiggling down the back straightaway. All the same, though, your leader is up in front, and it's Malik Ray again. A few drivers down to the wall, and that looks to be a big loss for Art Reimer, and in addition, Scotty Smith. No caution flies, but multiple drivers losing time big. Scotty Smith gets out the worst of it.
Yeah, Scotty Smith looks like a similar situation to David Brown there. No caution, however. Drew Jua once again was right in the thick of it. Tough for him. But you see Malik Ray, Brian Mercurio still trying to chase him down. He's right on that back bumper just for a second. Malik Ray just has so much better drive off at the time.
And that's exactly what got him up in front every single restart. Even if Graham Boland had the ability to chase him back down in that longer run we just saw, it's getting that drive off that matters the most, and Malik can preserve it for later. That's another essential piece of the puzzle. Mercurio is getting back up there, getting closer and closer. Another driver's going to wiggle once again, but nothing big comes of it. Otherwise, the leaders remain out there with no trouble. And it looks like right now, Mercurio is still gaining some time at the line. Last lap, it was 1/10 of a second quicker. This time through, he's about dead even. 0.03 of a second separate your top two drivers at the stripe.
And still trying to chase down Malik Ray a little further back. Wyatt Tinsley subsided just a little bit. He has Parker White breathing down his neck right now for the third position. One car off the pace. David Brown once again, but he's on the apron. Shouldn't be a concern for these leaders. Here comes Parker White. What a run to the outside for that 011 machine. Looks like going to step out just a little bit. Going to be side by side down the straight. Big push coming from Graham Boland. Should be the difference. And slot Parker White into the third position.
Very nice move there from Parker White, using the high side perfect, and just like that, he's on the podium for the first time today. Makes the move by. He's got Boland and Tinsley chasing, but Wyatt Tinsley gets off the worst. He's now down to 5th place, and even though he just got in the top 5 a few laps ago, all of a sudden he's looking for more, and he had it. Looks like now with Parker White making that move, he doesn't any longer. How about it for White? Now just a few tenths of a second off of the big lead battle, and maybe Parker can insert himself in a few laps' time.
And Parker has some tremendous pace right now. A little further back, Wyatt Tinsley trying not to lose more ground right now. He's got Daniel Falkingham, who's trying to break into the top 5. Had a pretty good run so far tonight, and throughout the field, looks like most everybody keeping their ducks all in a row. Michael P. Frisch making a pass on Brandon Hawken for the 14th position, the top of your screen. Right there. There goes Michael P. Frisch trying to get down to the inside. Both these drivers are currently inside the top 5 in points, but neither have a win so far this year.
And that's how hard it is to have gotten a victory this season. It's been absolute dominance from Parker White, of course, getting so many victories. And as it's been so far for White, of course, up in front, race after race, several consecutive wins. But even then, getting those high placement finishes matter a lot inside the top 5 race. If you cannot get a victory, you may as well settle for something up in front, a podium, top 5, top 10. Every point matters. Some drivers opted to go, of course, for the extra positions during the stage. And right now, taking a look at Jonathan Oates, he's right behind the leaders. He's in the 12th spot as it stands. Now we're taking a look a bit further back. Alex Kolnick, Garrett Conrath. No major movement from them, but they're no strangers to intense battles. Conrath and Kolnick going at it with guys like Jack Mason, that longer green flag run. So far, doesn't look like they're doing much have note at the moment, but that could change, of course, as laps continue to wind down. 81 laps here at Darlington, and still going to be Kolnick fighting with Conrath here for the 8th spot, but nothing major's come of it, and your lead battle more the same. 12 hundredths of a second between Mercurio and Malik Ray.
And this battle's really started to formulate here. Alex Kolnick's down to the inside of Conrath, as you mentioned, for the 8th position. Kolnick's fantastic drive through turns 3 and 4 right there, and will now get that spot. Conrath going to back out of the throttle just a little bit. Doesn't want to press the issue, and I don't really blame him.
And right now, I just still don't think there's a reason to. Of course, 82 laps in, much further than some risky driving we saw in the first 10, but there's still more than half of this race remaining, so why not still play it cool? If you've got all that time, you still got more than a stage and a half to go. There's no reason to risk everything, put it all on the line. So right now, just play it cool, single file, that's the way it's gone. And it looks like another driver going to take it down to the inside line. I believe we're looking there at the number 37 machine. I might be wrong there as we take a little look. There is Kevin McAdams right in the thick of it, but just ahead, you'll see Seth Knoll.
Yeah, Knoll tagged the wall there, and that stacked up McAdams. Now Michael P. Frisch going to try to make a move. McAdams going to get out of the throttle there, let Frisch have that spot. He's running the Dale Jr. National Guard throwback today. The Barr Visuals colors just a little recolored than normal on it. Seth Knoll, that was all kind of the catalyst of it. He tagged the wall through turns 1 and 2 and put McAdams in a tough spot and gave that to Michael P. Frisch. Now Frisch trying to chase down Seth Knoll. All this right on the cusp of the top 10 in that 11th position. Knoll himself trying to chase down Conrath down the backstretch. And no avail for the time being, and everybody again kind of running in line. Oh, and now caution going to be on the racetrack. One car wrecking on the backstretch. Believe going to be once again Drew Jua, and the last 20 laps for this 40 machine have not been kind.
From bad to worse for Drew Jua, another incident. He's involved in the number 4 machine going to go around. Let's take a look once again with a replay here, and Jua up on the high side of the track, trying to take it low. Oh, he'll get contact again, and he gets helped around and gets the worst of the incident despite not starting it.
That's for the second time in a row, and very similar to David L. Brown there when he lost it and, you know, just smacked the wall in front of Drew Jua. It happened once again with Brady Weileman. Watch Weileman again. This car's just going to step out and snap around, hits the wall. And Jua down to the inside wall, spinning once again. And 2 wrecks in a row for Jua. And just a tough spot for him to be in. Do have cars coming down the pit lane, and we'll figure out our starting order for our next restart. Malik Ray currently still your leader. Brian Mercurio second, Parker White in third after 86 laps at Darlington. We'll have you back after these messages for our restart. Welcome back to FTF.GG's coverage of the Kick in the Tires Southern 500K round 25 of the Barr Visuals FTF Cup Series. And after 87 laps so far, find ourselves under our, I believe, 5th caution of the night. Malik Ray currently your leader, and he has had just a dominating performance so far. We've heard some noise from guys like Graham Bolin, who won stage 1, in fact, but, you know, for the most part, it's been the Malik Ray show up front. Brian Mercurio currently trying to chase him back down, running second right now. Parker White, our far and away championship favorite at the moment, running third. The aforementioned Graham Bolin running fourth. Wyatt Tinsley rounding out your top 5. And a little bit of an interesting procedure here on the restart. You might have noticed so far tonight, but we have been single file. We never actually had a double file restart, except for that initial start that you saw Malik Ray and Daniel Buttafuoco side by side for earlier. But this is just one of the tracks here in the Barr Visuals FTF Cup Series where it's deemed a little too narrow to be able to be conducive to double file starts. So from the drop of the hat, really, tonight, we have been single file, and you're going to see that once again here. As part of why Malik Ray has been able to retain his lead, because he hasn't had that car to the outside to worry about. But we're going to get another display here. We'll see if Brian Mercurio can maybe keep up with the tricks here. Malik Ray, they'll enter the restart zone. Green flag once again in the Kick in the Tire Southern 500K. Malik Ray, your leader, once again through turns 1. Brian Mercurio trying to keep up.
And Malik Ray gets that jump once again, and as you mentioned, that's the big key to keeping this lead. If we're going to go back to having a few cautions in succession, getting that jump is as essential as it can get. And right now, Parker White's putting all the pressure down on Mercurio, which allows Malik Ray to drive away even further, and that's going to help his chances of collecting another stage victory, and perhaps even come home with the overall checkered flag at the end of 228 laps. He's got the edge right now, and the battles are still right behind.
Ray obviously doing fantastic so far tonight. Brian Mercurio let some gap get between those two cars, but a push from Parker White down the backstretch last time by really propelled him to get back right up into the thick of it, trying to get past this 007 machine. Not been an easy feat so far tonight. Parker White looks like he was taking a little bit of a different line, let Graham Bolin make up some time for fourth. And now throughout the field, you can hear all these cars smacking the wall off turn 4. Really goes to show you how far they're pushing it. One car actually spinning down the front straightaway, and that's going to be Landon Mills in the 19 machine. Looks like he'll get back going, and no caution going to result from it.
No yellow out, looked to be a single car incident there. Thankfully, Landon not around the rest of the field, so nothing's going to come of it. But it looks like Brian Mercurio's got a shot down low. Doesn't have enough to go through the entirety of the front stretch, but that's the closest he's been to getting that lead. And all of a sudden, he's making the same noise Graham Bolin was all those laps ago, but Malik Ray still holds on.
Starting to back up those corners, Brian Mercurio, and we saw it there for a split second with side by side. Got a better run through turns 3 and 4. We'll see if he can do it again. Parker White starting to make up time as well. Mercurio going to try to arc that corner. Not quite how good he did it last time by. He's going to stay right single file behind Malik Ray. But see Brian Mercurio starting to make up time on the 007 machine. Everybody else right now retaining their formation. Here comes Brian Mercurio peeking just a little bit. Does he make a move into 3? No. Still going to sit here, but not from a lack of trying from Brian Mercurio the last few laps.
And Mercurio's the best he's looked all race long to take a chance at that lead, but so far Malik Ray still holding off as well as he can. There's only 20 thousandths of a second separating them lap after lap, that time included, so Malik is not all too much quicker. He's just got that clean air, which makes a lot of difference with no of anything to really distract him on the restarts.
Oh.
He's got that advantage, but now it's going to be Mercurio up high, and this is the best he's looked on the high side. All of a sudden, they're side by side again.
Yeah, Malik Ray got down to the inside, and that just gave Brian Mercurio the real estate he needed. Malik Ray down to the inside, trying to retain his lead right now. Mercurio led that lap last time by, his first one today. And look at Mercurio just right up against this wall, and this is so difficult to do with a car right underneath you. Still going to try to use his momentum on the outside lane. He has a run going into turn number 3. Parker White right in the thick of it as well. We got 4 cars under a blanket, all for the lead right now. Still side by side off turn number 4. Looks like Malik Ray is going to take it.
And Malik gets it right back, but look at who else is in play. Graham Bolin, Parker White, they're all right behind. Parker backs off, and Bolin does too, but Mercurio is not done. He might have lost the lead, but that doesn't mean he's down and out. He's just going to have to regroup and go for it again. Side by side for the first time, he leads a lap. Can he get any more of it? We're going to find out.
And Brian Mercurio, again, trying to get back into position. He did a good job, and still not sure. I mean, Malik Ray kind of pulled down to the inside, and it gave Mercurio that shot he needed to get alongside Malik Ray, and just wasn't able to hold it. And again, so difficult to do when you got a car to your inside, because I mean, it's just not a fun place for your car to be. Right on the brink of chaos. Graham Bolin and Parker White both as well have kind of backed off for the time being, and have left Mercurio to try to challenge Malik Ray all by his lonesome. Quick update real fast. Looks like 2 DNFs after the last crash. Brady Weileman has disconnected from the server. Nate Stewart as well.
And unfortunately, some drivers not going to be able to make it to the end of stage 2. A few very far, but still on the track. Looks like Art Reimer, Scotty Smith, and David Brown still hold out hope. Brown's on pit road right now. Reimer and Scotty Smith, while at least 9 laps down, are both still going. Nate Stewart's 5 laps down, but he's set to fall further back. Malik Ray still leading the way as we look up in front, and so far, besides the incident, it's been very conservative up at the head of the field. Mid-pack's been really where all the trouble has been, and so far, the drivers who have have the track position have been very content with just riding in it. We're now looking back at Daniel Foggingham, who's in the thick of the top 10 battle. He's in 13th now. Jonathan Oates holds the final position, and a few drivers have shuffled up and down. Foggingham losing spots, and drivers right now like the number 128 of, well, that looks to be Travis Beckner. He's one of the guys who's gained.
I haven't talked much about Travis Beckner tonight, but he's quietly put together a pretty good run. Daniel Foggingham gonna arc down to the inside. Beckner getting out of the throttle and might let Michael Guest get to that rear bumper. However, they're going to just ride in line for the time being. And lots of guys right now, I think, just not trying to be side by side in the corners, not trying to push it. We just completed lap 100. Still about, what, 40 laps or so short of halfway? I don't know, I can't do math, but just cleared lap 100. So, I mean, we still got a fair ways to go.
Halfway is about 13 odd laps away. I think at 114 of 228, we're pretty close. So right now, drivers are just trying to make to that first half and go from there. As you've seen lap after lap, the sun continues to set. The lighting is now seen through the track. So the stadium lights, as I mentioned earlier, as one driver is going to go wiggling, that's Malik Ray up top. Lead battle, despite the track conditions changing, has not been stagnant. Mercurio keeps finding an opportunity. He just has not found the way to take the lead. He gets so close, but there's still one thing that keeps him away. That's Malik Ray's defense.
Damn, Brian Mercurio been super aggressive the last few laps. Has a tad bit of a run, but not going to be enough to go with it. Here comes Grant Bolin down to the inside. Not going to matter. Caution on the racetrack. One car off the pace. I believe it's going to be Kolnick's David L. Brown as well. And it's, again, just a little bit of contact, cars side by side. And not enough room to navigate here at Darlington that puts us under caution.
And taking that look back here, Alex Kolnick, he was within the top 10 there, and he gets caught up. You see David Brown, as you mentioned, he just gets turned. Jonathan Oates gets caught up too, and it looks like nearly Kolnick's tagging a few other drivers. Luckily doesn't, keeps it down low, and looks like a few other drivers going to go sliding. Let's take another look at it here, as it looks like they went 3 wide and too little room for too many drivers.
Tried to go 3 wide and kind of got sucked together, Alex Kolnick and Kevin McAdams. But once again, kind of neutralizes our strategy thoughts, as it looks like everybody going to come down except for Daniel Foggingham, who's going to stay out, maybe try to get a bonus point for leading a lap here. Garrett Conrath going to stay out as well. Again, it's just about everybody coming down.
And you're right, the field comes through this time by. Fockingham's going to go and stay for the bonus points. Besides that, it's going to be Malik Ray leading everyone. The question is, does Malik Ray keep that top spot? We'll see if he just gets a good pit stop out of it. Mercurio not too far behind, so maybe pit exit's going to decide who gets up in front and who doesn't. Some drivers roaring off. Graham Bolin is not going to get it. It's going to be Brian Mercurio, and it looks like Malik Ray stays along. It's going to be the entirety of the field passing him through. Malik Ray's in trouble, and it's the longest he's been on pit road. It looks like Malik Ray going to lose all that time staying down on pit road. Not 100% sure if that's going to be a penalty here, as the driver of the number 7 fades back big. Malik Ray in trouble. Daniel Fockingham, your leader.
And not sure if that is a penalty for Malik Ray, or don't think it would be damage for that long. I'm going to assume it was some sort of penalty either way. Try to get some clarification there on what happened to him. This is a little further back, trying to get a replay here. All right, we're going to roll with it. There's David L. Brown there. Again, searching for clarification right now on what happened to Malik Ray, but either way, he's going to get cycled out here. Fockingham with the lead, and this is the first time he's really led. He's been up inside the top 5 at times tonight, but really getting shaken up here. 4 cars stayed out. It's going to be Daniel Fockingham, Garrett Conrath, Brandon Hawken, and Aaron Riolo in the 109 machine. That top 4 all stays out. First car on the fresher rubber is going to be Brian Mercurio in the 5th position. Graham Boland, Parker White, your usual suspects who have been up at the front so far. There's Nate Stewart, and he went upside down for a moment on the backstretch. Don't know how that didn't bring out a caution. This is just big contact and why he retired from tonight's event. See, just getting loose there and smacks the inside wall hard, gets up on that window net area and comes back down to earth. And pretty understandable why he disconnected after that.
I don't think you can do much with that car after an incident like that, so it does make sense that that's the night for Nate Stewart. Looking up in front, tire strategy, as you mentioned, very few drivers as a buffer for Falkingham here. So if the field, Mercurio, Boland, Parker White in specific, if they make a move around, if they end up getting through, it's going to be troublesome for Daniel. If there's no buffer, it might not be possible to keep that lead. He was running as low as about the 13th spot when we last checked on him. It's been an up and down day, but he was up there inside the top 5 for the large majority of our first stage. Now, with the lead, we might be able to even grab a stage victory. I'm thinking that's the mindset for this final stint before stage 2 ends.
Either way, going to be in interesting shape here. Once again, it's going to be 4 cars who stayed out. Got about 20 laps on this run for Falkingham, Conrath, Hawken, Riolo, and going to see if Mercurio and co are going to be able to make a charge up here. Either way, for Daniel Falkingham, who's now going to lead the field into the restart zone, going to get him stacked up, and now going to go green flag back in the air. Garrett Conrath, Brandon Hawken, and Aaron Riolo trying to not only hold their position, but chase Falkingham down as they head into 1.
And not the same jump start as what we saw, of course, from Malik Ray, but all of a sudden, Falkingham has an even bigger lead. 0.3 of a second, gets out big, and now he's got a major advantage as Brian Mercurio begins to work on those who kept on the track. Mercurio's already down to the bottom there, and Aaron Riolo, they're going to be side by side, and as they come to the line once again, it's going to be Falkingham leading, but the new tire brigade is coming.
Oh!
With one driver down, that's Jack Mace.
Yeah, big wiggle there out of Jack Mace, and he almost made contact with the inside wall, similarly to what we just saw with Nate Stewart about 10-15 laps ago. Does a great job of keeping it out of there and stays in it. Lawson Peel going to smack the outside wall to his outside. Lots of action going on in the mid-pack right now. But a little further ahead right now, you're looking at Daniel Falkingham, who's still our leader. Brian Mercurio trying to pick off everybody. He just got past Riolo, trying to chase down Brandon Hawken in the 3rd position now.
And just about 5 laps in, coming through in a moment's notice, Brian Mercurio on this run is like a jet. He's been only on his tires for 5 laps to be exact, and he's already going to make it by 1. Aaron Riolo's fading to 7th, but the rest of the drivers who have stayed out have not had much trouble, especially in the case of Daniel Falkingham. With all the buffer ahead of him and that great restart launch, he's going to be able to keep that lead with ease as they're beating and banging side by side, and they're getting real aggressive here down the front straightaway.
Oh, and Joseph Armstrong, he says he has a broken right front right now. This is another car off the pace. Or no, this is Seth Knoll. Oh, and Lawson Peel going to smack the wall big time. They're wrecking on the backstretch. Justin Malillo's around. Malik Ray spins down the backstretch.
And it was a series of other wrecks making this one. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, Seth Knoll was off the pace there with that broken right front, and we saw everybody trying to make those evasive maneuvers. Lawson Peel just could not stick it off of turn number 2, smacks the outside wall, and slides in front of one of the just purely dominant cars of the day, and Malik Ray. We'll take a look at what happened.
Seth Knoll bouncing back and forth off of the wall. Joseph Armstrong there as well. Armstrong making a big recovery, then he goes down low. Getting by is Michael Frisch. And it looks like from there, Seth going to keep it on the high side. And taking a look at this, Malik Ray, Justin Malillo, caught in the confines. Maybe minor damage for Malik, but I can't say the same about everyone else involved.
And again, that's a hard hit for Lawson Peel, and he has taken a tow. Actually, no, was able to limp it to under his own power to get onto the pit lane. And again, you'll take a look right here, trying to avoid Seth Knoll, and then the car just snaps. Again, just big contact there. Justin Malillo gets turned around down to the inside, and then Malik Ray, again, was able to just give it a light little kiss to the outside wall, we'll call it, and shouldn't have too much damage. He'll have to come back down the pit lane though for 4 fresh tires if I had to assume.
And halfway through the race, another big shuffle up for the driver who's been oh so dominant, Malik Ray. He's now in trouble. Daniel Falkingham leads, and he only has a few laps to go to make it to the stage break, but Brian Mercurio, he's been very quick. Now he's up to 3rd. He just got by Brandon Hawkins, so it's only Garrett Conrath separating Mercurio from Falkingham and that race lead. And Caleb, I have to ask you, do you think it's enough for Daniel? Is that buffer, is the track position advantage enough to make it to the stage, or you think we'll see Mercurio get it through?
Yeah, it's a good question for sure, and it's a gamble at this point. Only 8 laps till the end of stage number 2, and Falkingham trying to stay out for those valuable bonus points. I'd say this is, all in all, a good thing, because Brian Mercurio doesn't have that advantage to chase you back down, so you're going to have a less amount of time. If you can get a good gap on this restart, it's going to be good for Falkingham. I'd say all in all, I think he's in a good position here. If he can catch a caution on the flip side in stage number 3 and kind of catch everybody else, I'd say 20 or so laps in, so about 10-15 laps away from now. If he can catch a caution and just hold on to this track position right now, then this is all in all a fantastic move by Falkingham.
And all of a sudden, there's new life for Daniel Falkingham's run in this race. 113 laps in, coming to 114, trying to lead us to the halfway point. And with this strategy call, it's a big shuffle up. We've seen more and more divergence in the strategy. At first, most drivers coming down at the same time. Now, within our top 10, we've got drivers with 27 lap-old tires, 9 lap-old tires, and even further back, some drivers doing it even different. Landon Mills has been on his set for 7. Some drivers like Malik Ray and Jamie Ritchie Price on a 1-lap stint. 8 laps for Seth Knoll. He's down on pit road. So now we're seeing a bit more back and forth, up and down changes in our strategy, and we're going to have to find out which one's the best come the end of the second half in just a moment's notice.
And taking a step back here to look at the bigger picture for a moment, obviously we got tonight and then Daytona. And that's it for the regular season, and just an update on how we run at the moment. We was talking about that battle between Sebastian Marin and Seth Knoll. Right now, kind of Seth Knoll, Chris Wetz, that area is your bubble, and Seth Knoll, the first car on the outside, trying to battle with everybody else to make it in right now. Chris Wetz, if you were wondering, tonight currently runs 23rd. Not been a great night for him, but he can continue to just keep it clean and make passes as the night goes on. He'll be in a pretty good spot. Seth Knoll, we mentioned, was on the pit lane right now. There's Chris Wetz, mentioned back in 23rd. Sebastian Marin, however, another one of those drivers kind of on the bubble-ish, running 8th right now. And he does have a win this season back at Talladega. That is the only thing kind of keeping him in contention. He's in on points at the moment, but that is still subject to change as of tonight and Daytona. Going to get restarted here and reset as we get to the end of stage number 2. Daniel Falkingham, Garrett Conrath, Brian Mercurio, your top 3 entering the restart zone. Daniel Falkingham going to try to build as much of a gap as he can. Can he hold off Garrett Conrath and Brian Mercurio to get to the end of stage number 2? We'll find out now. Going into turn number 1, a fantastic launch from the L54.
And Falkingham looking much like Malik Ray on these restarts, just about the same gap, and that's good enough to keep Brian Mercurio at bay, but Garrett Conrath not going to be able to say the same. All of a sudden, it's going to be Mercurio right down low. He's got himself in second immediately, and the rest of the field comes chasing. A caution might be the saving grace here for Falkingham. A few drivers side by side, but I don't think he's going to get one. He's got to make it to lap 120, and he's got to do it under his own power.
Oh, contact between Graham Bolin and Brandon Hawkin. They narrowly avoid a wreck somehow up inside the top 5, but Brandon Hawkin all over the place right now. He was log jammed in the wall with Graham Bolin down to his inside. They somehow save it.
And those drivers were dancing all across the track. Just want to say no yellow. They got real close to it, and they're still shuffling up and down. Jonathan Oates now in the picture as well. It's going to be Sebastian Marin trying to take a few spots from the craziness, and all of a sudden, one driver down to the bottom of the track. It looks to be
and caution.
A caution.
And that is going to change a lot here for the end of this stage. See that car off pace right here. I believe that's going to be Jamie Ritchie Price in the 66 machine.
We're going to take a look back, and I wasn't quite sure we saw to the end of the front straight car there. Jamie Ritchie Price losing a lot of time. And we're going to take a look, and it looks like, yes, that's going to be the case here. Looking further back, Jamie Ritchie Price. And right down low, Price went with Melillo, so multiple cars taking it down in.
Lucky that was just really kind of a spin. That could have been a lot worse there. See that contact from Melillo. Jamie Ritchie Price slaps the inside wall, gets turned around, does a 360, and is able to keep going, actually. Does a pretty good job there. Melillo, that's his second incident of the night that he's been involved in, and want that to go too much further for him. Like we saw him in the last caution and then involved again there. I want to redirect our attention, though. One Daniel Falkingham. This caution, again, might be his saving grace.
It looks like after some chaos just behind him, he'll get that caution, and all of a sudden, Falkingham in the prime position to come through with the stage victory. So the strategy really paying off and getting these bonus points, and he's the only driver of the 4 who stayed out, who will keep all those points. Of course, as we mentioned, the first driver to get past was Aaron Riolo, and right now for Aaron, he's going to be in 12th. Then from there, it's going to be not too far after. Of course, Brandon Hawken in 8th. Garrett Conrath is going to go into the 3rd spot. And Daniel Falkingham, of those who remained down the track, kept the older set of Goodyear rubber. He's the one who gets all the bonus points. So for Daniel Falkingham, that is huge. It's been a dominating season for Parker White in getting each and every point. And if you want to be in the battle to the very end, playoff points, they mean an awful lot. Michigan, it was, of course, Daniel Buttafuoco getting it done. One of the Daniels there. Actually, that's going to be Falkingham. Messed it up reading there. The Daniels back and forth. They're up there in the points, but it is Falkingham who came through at Michigan. And he has that victory, which is oh so crucial considering how hard it is to get one. But these playoff points, they mean a lot too. Tonight, Parker White has not been lights out, so even though Parker White might not be the biggest threat to win, these are extra points that mean an awful lot. And coming down to the line, it looks to be official. Daniel Falkingham will win the stage.
Yeah, Falkingham indeed does win the stage. It happened when the caution came out, and we're inside the buffer zone for the end of the stage there. So Falkingham going to win stage number 2 and through some very valuable points. That 054 machine. Brian Mercurio comes up just short after winning that race off pit road earlier, and again, a good move for Falkingham there. Mercurio as well. Garrett Conrath going to come home 3rd after a 9th place finish in stage number 1. Parker White inside the top 5 comes home 4th. Grant Bowl in 5th. Wyatt Tinsley in the 6th position. Sebastian Mayer in 7th. Brandon Hawk in 8th. Jonathan Oates in the 9th position. And then Michael Guest, who has had a quiet night so far, sneaks his way into the top 10 there for stage number 2. Now we will be purely racing to the end of this thing at this point. Just shy of 100 laps to go. And it's going to be tough for Daniel Falkingham to stay out front here. But again, I think if they catch another caution after this restart, if he can hold off Brian Mercurio, he might be in a good spot for the rest of this thing.
Right now, the big question is not about Malik Ray like it was earlier. I think right now the big juggernaut will be Brian Mercurio for the rest of the way. 108 laps in the stage to go from this point onward. And as the iRacing official pace car turns the lights off, it's going to be pressure back on Falkingham. He has the stage victory, but he also has very old tires. And now, with Mercurio having the track position to maybe chase him back down quicker than anyone else, it's going to be troublesome for Daniel to come through and make it happen all over again. That Toyota Camry, number 54, goes back to work, but this time it's going to be an even harder task. He does not have any buffer. He's got Mercurio, and just a few spots back, you've got Parker White, Graham Bolin, and Wyatt Tinsley. All the juggernauts are still there, and they've got better tires. It's going to be disadvantage to Falkingham. He's got to work with it and maybe come through with some strategy later.
We just have to keep an eye on as you see the lights have gone out on the pace car. Daniel Falkingham once again going to have control of this restart. Brian Mercurio had a really good run that last stint. Will he be able to take it here? We're going to have to just wait and see. Daniel Falkingham going to try to get a jump here. Mercurio does a great job of sticking with them. Still, Falkingham going to have about a car length lead going into turn number 1. Side by side a little further back. Here comes Graham Bolin trying to get to the inside of Parker White. The field rumbles off turn number 2.
And Daniel Falkingham gets a nice jump, but Mercurio's back on the bumper. Not as effective as every other restart, but all of a sudden it might not be all hope lost, at least for the moment. Further on back, they're side by side, multiple layers deep. Tinsley going to be with Graham Bolin, but it's single file out in front, and it looks like Mercurio having a bit more trouble getting him immediately off the point. But it could be closer and closer as time winds down. Now Parker White's in third to chase down Brian Mercurio and the number 54 of Falkingham with those older tires.
And a little further throughout the field right now, Wyatt Tinsley looking down to the inside of Garrett Conrath, trying to take this 4th position away from the 9 machine. Going to get there and again has that tire advantage right now. Wyatt Tinsley, for the time being, going to have that 4th position. Big shove coming from Grant Bolin. Look at Wyatt Tinsley. Big move into turn number 1. Clears himself up in front of Garrett Conrath. Conrath out of the throttle. That's going to give that spot to Graham Bolin. A little bit of contact. Bolin all over the place off turn number 2. But they keep it straight for the time being. Here comes Sebastian Marin down to the inside as well as Conrath.
All of a sudden, it's going to be a hornet's nest here with Bolin still trying to defend. Wyatt Tinsley gets the best of it, and while they've gotten single file again, you can see these drivers are not going to be afraid of pushing when it is needed. Wyatt Tinsley, man, what a move that was to go right up there, make the move, put that defense on, and that's going to keep Bolin at bay. But maybe that's not the best thing to do in the future. Risky racing. And all of a sudden, we're seeing a bit more of it up in front as we are winding down the 3rd stage. The first few laps in play, and Daniel Falkingham is still leading. So despite the age in the tire, maybe this is the right move for Daniel, and he might be able to get on cycle. Having that clean air up in front has been a big advantage, and right now it's playing to his favor.
Big wiggle out of Garrett Conrath as he's now going to fall all the way outside of the top 10 after being in the top 5 just a few laps ago. He's going to keep it collected for the time being. You see him there now being chased down by Joseph Armstrong all the way back in 14th, as we mentioned there. And I don't know, looking a little further back up at this battle that is starting to brew for the lead. Mentioned Daniel Falkingham was doing a good job of holding on, and he has held on, but don't know about this right now. Currently, Falkingham is 41 laps into the stint. The max we've seen tonight so far has been about that 30 to 35 buffer. Of course, have had some cautions in there helping as well, but Falkingham definitely on the tail end of this run right now. Here comes Brian Mercurio, though, on those fresher tires, trying to get down to the inside. Big wiggle out of the 41 machine. That's going to give the real estate back to the 054, Daniel Falkingham, as he'll pull up. Oh, Mercurio's actually going to slap the wall, and that might even open the door for Parker White.
And all of a sudden, Daniel and Mercurio going right at it. Looked like Brian had a shot right to the bottom, but now it's going to be a much bigger opening. Daniel Falkingham, how about it? Gets it once again to the point, and he's got a bigger gap. Parker White is there, and this is the best he's looked all race long. 3rd place, and now right behind Mercurio, who looked to be the juggernaut to fight with Daniel. Now that might not be the case. Parker White coming alive late, and maybe there's a bit more with few moments before we hit the double digits. 100 laps to go. Falkingham leads, but he's going to need a yellow flag because Parker's coming, and if he doesn't, Brian Mercurio's still right there.
And if you're wondering the effects of clean air here at Darlington and how hard it is to pass, right now, Daniel Falkingham, 44 laps on this stint. Everybody else inside the top 10 is on that fresher run, a lap 26. You'll have to go all the way down to Brandon Hawken, who's running 11th right now, who's just in free fall along with everybody else on these older tires. It's just so hard to get down. We saw Brian Mercurio, he had the run going into turn number 1, just couldn't make it stick. And that's been a common theme at Darlington tonight, and again, shows how one-dimensional kind of this racetrack is at times.
And it's a saving grace for Falkingham despite that fact. And you're right, there's so much in terms of defense that matters. And with such a small amount of racing groove, you cannot afford to make a mistake like that. It looked like it would be an open and shut pass for the race lead. But all of a sudden, the gap remains still just about 0.2 of a second. Mercurio is back again, almost as quick as he was before. But he's got Parker White to worry about. And Falkingham hits the wall in the same vein. Now it's going to be back wide open for Mercurio. He's going to try to make the same move as he did before and take Parker White with him.
Mercurio down to the inside. Falkingham slapped the wall and has given Mercurio the run he is needed. And now Daniel Falkingham might be in trouble. Mercurio wiggling as well. Here comes Parker White. It's going to be 3 wide down the front stretch for the lead here at Darlington. And still retaining this formation, Brian Mercurio holding strong down on the inside. Parker White has to get out of the throttle. Falkingham going to tag the wall down the backstretch. Mercurio had it for a second. Here comes Parker White again trying to make it 3 wide into turn number 3. Still all over each other right now. Can Parker White make it work? I don't think so.
And they're using every single line on the track to keep it 3. Parker White doesn't get anything of it there, and it looks like Graham Boland's now in play. Boland's going to push Falkingham back in front. Daniel's got the edge. Now Brian Mercurio's going to be fighting with Graham, which gives Daniel, unbelievably, the top spot once again.
Oh, and Mercurio's going to get turned by Parker White. He's spinning down the backstretch. Caution flag is out. Off the bumper of Parker White. And one of your main race contenders in Brian Mercurio, who's been running second all day long, gonna get turned down the backstretch. And such a good run for our second place in points. I don't know how they made it work for so long, and it ultimately comes back to bite him as Brian Mercurio gets turned out of turn number 2 here at Darlington. Puts us under the caution flag once again, and we saw that brewing for 3 or 4 laps, really.
And in a race like that, with a racing like that, I'd say someone's got to give Parker White with some contact from Mercurio, and it looks like it's going to be the number 41 that pays the due of every driver racing. So risky there. 3 wide, lap after lap. Then Graham Boland got involved, and yep, looks like Brian gets loose, comes back up, and Parker White's going to tap him off.
I don't know how that wasn't bigger than just Mercurio, but certainly a hamper on his hopes tonight. Inside 100 laps to go. And again, Malik Ray was so dominant all night. Got held up on pit road earlier and has not been a factor since. Just, again, as a result of how hard it's been to pass. And, you know, if you're Brian Mercurio, you hope that same fate doesn't befall you. But either way, that's the caution that Daniel Falkingham needed to get back reset with these leaders. And he's in a really good spot. He made a gamble on the pit strategy there, but looks like if all stays how it is right now, I believe he's going to win the race off pit road here. Graham Boland second. But staying out on that caution a few cycles ago, going to pay off big for Daniel Falkingham, as now he has as fresh as tires as anybody. Still going to have that track position.
And it looked like it was going to be a Hail Mary strategy for the stage, but it works out. And now it looks like we've got another pack that stayed on the track. They're coming this time. It looks like it's going to be Jonathan Oshalim, Drew Jua, Kevin McGanning, Justin Malillo. Looks like it's going to be for real Jonathan coming through, but Drew Jua opts not to, and a few other drivers there look not to as well. Kevin McAdams, namely, and it looks like Justin Malillo. So now a lot of the pack that was staying out choose to come right in, and pit road's going to be busy once again.
And some pit trickery from our Mickey Mouse Clubhouse cars. While we're under caution, do want to take a quick moment here to maybe talk with one of these guys up front right now, and talk to Justin Malillo for just a second while we still have the time. And Justin, running third right now, and you didn't pit right there. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling terrible, Caleb. I'm feeling absolutely terrible. I am so wore out, and freaking this track does not agree with me, and I'm really mad about the wreck score that I got earlier, because I feel like it could have been avoided, because I feel like people don't respect how you're supposed to race this track. You're not supposed to race the people, you're supposed to race the track, and you know, trying to pin it on the outside of turn 3 and 4 just doesn't work out, or outside of turn 2. So, yeah, I'm up in third. I'm probably gonna pull over and just let everybody go though, because I can't take tires. I've been wrecked so much tonight. I've been in so much stupid things tonight that I cannot take tires here. So, yeah, it's gonna be rough, and I'm not looking forward to it. So, yeah.
Driver of the 053 right now. He had a rough go of it, and shows you how grueling Darlington can really be for you. And again, it is a demanding racetrack, and you hear that from Justin Malillo and Kevin McAdams. Both of those guys opting to stay out, along with Drew Jua right now in the 40 machine. And all three of these guys really up inside the top 3 who stayed out have seen their fair share of drama tonight. Malillo obviously been involved in the 2. Kevin McAdams was involved in just 1, I believe, but had a hand in it. And then Drew Jua obviously was put in really precarious spots earlier. I believe Brady Weileman wrecked right in front of him, David Brown as well. So going to be an interesting restart here. Either way, first car on fresher tires, or I guess fresh tires, just came down the pit road. It's going to be Daniel Falkingham. That whole lead group of Graham Bolin, Parker White, Wyatt Tinsley, Sebastian Marin, Michael Guest, Michael P. Frisch all round out your top 10. They're on fresh tires. It's going to be a 3-pack at the front of the field. They're going to try to hold everybody off. We're going to see here 91 laps to go at the Darlington Raceway in the Kick in the Tire Southern 500K. Drew Jua going to lead us down to the green flag, and he gets a fantastic launch. What does everybody else have for him, especially Daniel Falkingham, who's already down to the inside, and Justin Malillo?
And it's going to be about how quick Falkingham can make it through the drivers that are buffering Drew Jua. Now he's on the flip side of the equation, almost like where Brian Mercurio was on that run to the Stage 2 conclusion. Now Falkingham makes it by 1. It looks like it's going to be fading back for Justin Malillo on the high side. The rest of the field going to try to freight train him, then get to Kevin McAdams, and the leader who still is Drew Jua. 90 laps remaining, going on to 89, and Malillo's fading back fast. Looks like he's going to be in more trouble as the drivers continue to fly by.
Now Michael Guest right on his rear bumper right now. Daniel Falkingham still trying to catch Kevin McAdams, who even he has quite a bumper back to Daniel Falkingham. Not going to remain that way for long, though. Daniel Falkingham, I mean, the difference in corner speed is just absolutely astounding. You can really tell who's on those fresh tires and who's not.
And it looks like those corners are exactly where Daniel's able to make up that time. He was able to fly during the first lap to get by Malillo, and Malillo's in the wall, so he's having even more trouble trying to hold on. Looks like Oates get by. Looks like it's going to be Malik Ray getting by, so Malik's back in the picture, and it looks like Malillo continues to lose some time trying to hold on with the older tires. It just doesn't look like the gamble's paying off.
A little bit of contact right behind that group we were watching. Alex Kolnick and Travis Beckner looks like going on and off right now through turns 1 and 2. Battle for second. Here comes Daniel Falkingham. He's caught slower car Kevin McAdams right now, who stayed out on that last caution. And now Falkingham, Graham Bolin, both trying to get by this driver of the number 37. Going to be side by side going into 3. And again, you can see that discrepancy as Graham Bolin's just going to drive away from Kevin McAdams. Parker White as well. That'll put Kevin McAdams to the 5th position. Now for Daniel Falkingham, Graham Bolin and co. All you got to do is chase down Drew Jua, who has got to feel like a sitting duck at this point out in front of the field. But we've seen how difficult it can be to pass. We'll see if that holds true here for Falkingham.
And for Drew Jua, he's done everything he has to do right now. Had a very good jump compared to his contemporaries on the same level of tire wear. But now it's Daniel Falkingham coming right back up. He's gone through the exact same experience, so he's now on the flip side of the coin. We'll see how easy it is for him, because Mercurio tried to make this pass. He might have thought it was easy, but he had his workload cut out for him. Now Falkingham going to go up high, try to get it down low. Drew Jua's going to block, but I don't think there's anything that can be done. Falkingham was so much quicker off corner that he'll take the lead and rock it up there with 85 laps remaining.
We were just going to let Falkingham go, and a good decision there. And you can't tell if that was intentional or just a result of the tires. I think it was intentional. You see he pulls down to the inside, lets those faster cars go of Graham Bolin, Parker White, etc. And now Graham Bolin's going to have to chase down Daniel Falkingham. And Falkingham staying out there a few cautions ago, making him look like a genius, because it has set him up just perfectly with fresh tires up at the front of the field, and has given him the advantage he's needed over guys like Graham Bolin, Parker White, etc.
And all of a sudden, it's going to be a big buffer, of course, for guys like Bolin and Parker White. Wyatt Tinsley got by through, but Drew Jua, he is still inside the top 5. Kevin McAdams has faded down into 8th. Looks like Justin Malillo going to be fading back even further than that. I don't see him there inside the top 20. So it's been a lot of drivers, different scenarios, despite the same age on the tire. And right now for Jua, he's still holding on strong, but those drivers who are right behind, they want to pounce. They want to do it now. 83 laps to go. It's still a lot in the grand scheme of things, but we've gotten through more than half of this race onto the final stage. It's now time to look for that win. So if you can make a move, why not? Sebastian Marin just made it by Kevin McAdams, so that's another pass in the books, and he's going to try to bring Malik Ray with him for the first time ever since, of course, the incident on pit road. He just stayed down there. Malik Ray's inside the single digits, 9th place, just ahead of Kevin.
Jonathan Notes gets down to the inside of McAdams. It's going to open the door for Beckner, and doing everything he can to hold on is that 37 car of Kevin McAdams. Alex Kolnick as well. Beckner is actually going to turn McAdams down to the inside. McAdams going to slam into the wall hard. Kolnick into the wall. Beckner, we mentioned Garrett Conrath as well, and a big wreck in turn 1 at Darlington. All as a result of contact between Travis Beckner and Kevin McAdams.
And this changes an awful lot with strategy. McAdams, Kolnick, both involved, and some drivers who were heavy hitters all race long. Major damage. You can see McAdams, his suspension is destroyed. The right front tire is no longer spinning. And we're going to take a look back here and find out what caused this one.
We'll break that down right there. It's contact between Beckner and McAdams. Slide back in front. McAdams slams the wall at the back end of that race car. Alex Kolnick just has nowhere to go, really. And then you see Conrath as well. Just no time to react and nowhere you can really put that car. Jack Mace makes contact with Conrath as well to put him up in the wall. Everybody else just kind of sent scrambling around. And you see McAdams off the pace there. Cosmin Ionescu got some damage in that as well. Matt Spalding, Brian Mercurio, all guys who had some sort of piece in that. Either way, maybe a little drama on pit road. Looks like Drew Jua is going to be our sole taker, and shouldn't come to a surprise to anybody. It's like the next car on pit road outside of Jua is going to be guys that were involved in that last caution. Alex Kolnick especially. Joshua Chin, Aaron Riolo as well. It looks like for most of our leaders going to be the status quo. And it's going to be Falkingham, Graham Bolin, Parker White, Wyatt Tinsley, and Michael Guest as your top 5.
And not much for the leaders on pit road here. Looks like it's going to stay the same. Daniel Falkingham leads, but he's got a bit less room to play with. With Drew Jua still there was still a bit of a gap between the drivers who got by Drew and those who didn't. Now everything's going to be back, single file formation, and some drivers who were very, very good earlier coming back in play. Malik Ray's back inside the top 10. He's up to 8th now. He's got to get by a few drivers to make it a really race-winning contention, but he's clawed back this far. He's hungry for a win as well. He's not going for points. He's chasing the checkered flag. So if he wants to get it done, he's still got some time to put himself back in the position to make it happen and come through with the win. Still a lot of time, so I think Malik's got a shot to get back in the picture, but for Falkingham, he's got the strategy locked down too, and if he can just keep the drivers like Bolin and Parker White at bay, he might come through for the second win of the season and put the Parker White winning streak back off.
Certainly want to avoid letting Parker White pick up his 11th win on the season. Graham Bolin right now sitting second as well. Did want to mention real fast, we talked about it briefly, but somebody who was dominant in this race early, didn't pick up the stage 1 win, but was in contention for it, and then took the lead back eventually. Right now running in the 8th position. Taking him a while to crawl his way back up, but Malik Ray finds himself back inside the top 10. Absolutely wants to make noise and absolutely wants to come out of here with a win at Darlington. We know he has the speed for it, and he's right now in the thick of it. If he can continue to pick off cars like he's been doing for all these runs, then he's going to be in incredible position to come out of here with a win. But he's going to have to get through the likes of Daniel Falkingham, Grant Boland, Parker White, Wyatt Tinsley. And that's no easy feat, especially at a place as demanding as Darlington.
As they come through once again, it's all about keeping yourself in the picture. It's a lot of focus, a lot of strain for these drivers, and right now it looks like it's worked out quite well for Malik Ray. You saw there, down as low as the 30th position. Now he's back in the top 10, and he was leading with a lot of control during that first stage. Now that he's up here in the picture again, I don't think he's going to stop. He wants to get back up there and go for that win. And with 77 laps still on the board, he's got to just claw it back lap after lap, position after position, and he'll still have a shot. For Daniel Falkingham, the moves made at the end of Stage 2 have paid off well. Now he leads, he's on cycle, and the rest of the pack has to chase him down, and when you're the leader, it's a big advantage. The track is dark, conditions have changed, and as night's gone on, Falkingham might have the fastest car to go till the very end. He's got Graham Boland second, Parker White third, Wyatt Tinsley fourth, and Michael Guest, the highest spot he's been in, now up to fifth to round out that top five.
Pace car lights are off. Once again, gonna be Daniel Falkingham leading us back to the green. Interesting situation that we're in now, but gonna be Falkingham who leads the field to the green flag. Boland, Parker White, everybody kind of looking to get aggressive at this point. 76 laps to go. You still have a bit of time, but with how hard it is to pass at Darlington, you're definitely gonna want to start moving up now. Actually, it looks like we're gonna have a caution on the restart. One car sliding through turn one. It's Ryan Naraki in the number 26, and instantly we get another caution. A little bit of contact on that restart, looks like.
And immediately back under yellow, Ryan Naraki gets the worst of it. Looks like he's got a bit of damage, but nobody else major connection and contact. So single car mainly involved. Let's take a look back and find out what happened here with Ryan as he went up high and he just got tapped. Just gonna go around there, and yeah, he got contact with multiple of the drivers there. So unfortunately not one car around, but it's gonna be multiple, bringing that yellow out.
Again, you see Dylan Basin makes a big move here. A little bit of a checkup in the back. And then it's that slight bit of contact gets Naraki turned around and puts us under caution once again.
And just like that, back to the yellow flag as soon as we left it. Caution is back out, and we'll see if there's any takers here on pit road. Doesn't look like the leaders are going to go through. Daniel Falkingham still has the lead, and another restart keeps him out in front. So that's when you begin to question, is this the final cycle on tires? I think there's still going to be one more pit stop. I think 20 laps into the stint, there's no reason to go 95-odd laps. So we're going to see one more at the minimum, but maybe whatever's next, whatever long run we get, that could be the money stop. We're coming in on that final stint range. I think that's going to dictate the strategy from this point onward.
And we're really set up in an interesting spot, like I was kind of alluding to at that restart. Right now, for most of the leaders, about 20 laps or so on this stint. And again, the most we've seen tonight was Daniel Falkingham, who pushed it to about 45. But either way, we're going to see how that plays out here. We're going to step aside for a second and get you this restart and more after these messages. Daniel Falkingham leads at Darlington, 74 laps to go. Lights are out on the pace cars. We welcome you back to FTF.GG's coverage of the Kicking the Tires Southern 500K. 72 laps remain, and Daniel Falkingham, the second half of this race, has really started to become a dominant force. Graham Bolin right now trying to chase him down in the second position. Parker White third. Wyatt Tinsley in the fourth position. And then Michael Guest will round out our top 5. Again, we mentioned that the lights are out on the pace car, so coming to the restart this time by, and we've had a cycle of cautions the last 20 or so laps, hoping we can get a good solid run here to the end, maybe have some dual strategy play out. We'll see how it goes, though, as Daniel Falkingham leads us once again into the restart zone. Gonna back up to the front bumper of Graham Bolin. Green flag back in the air, and Bolin is right with Falkingham. He's been getting such a good run. And looks like a caution flag is out already. And it looks like Malik Ray has gone around.
And there was some stack up there on that restart inside the top 5 spots, and that's what brings out the yellow. Malik Ray looks to have gotten the worst of it. And it looks like after all that recovery he put in, he's going to have to head back to the tail end of the field all over again. Caution is out. Let's take a look here as it looks like Malik Ray gets a bun on the restart, and that's what shuffles everyone. And Malik Ray going to be on the wall, rides it in reverse. Nothing else besides contact there from the wall. Let's take it one more time and look further at it. And as you can see, heading here to the restart, drivers getting stacked up, and it looks like it starts with, of course, Wyatt Tinsley getting some contact. Then Michael Frisch checks up into it. Looks like Malik Ray, no warning. He ends up part of the bumper cars, and he's the only driver of which to have gone spinning. They go all around every time. It looks like, it seems like they get away, save for Malik. So let's look at it on board hood camera here with Malik Ray. And it looks like for him, he did not see it coming. And nothing you can do with that rate. Going around, no control, keeps it up on the wall. The best place to be here. Doesn't come back in the pack and just waits for the yellow flag to fly. And it's very challenging now for him to even have a chance to get back with the leaders after such a resilient drive from 30th up into 8th and even further. 69 laps remaining. Not a nice way to end that charge up front, as we know, go back under caution. Doesn't look like the leaders are going to take on pit road this time by, and Daniel Falkingham leads the way, as it's going to be Graham Bolin, then there in second, Parker White third, and in fourth place it'll be Wyatt Tinsley. Fifth will be Michael Guest, and sixth is now Michael Frisch, with Jonathan Oates, Sebastian Marin, Brandon Hawken, and Landon Mills rounding out the top 10. Back under pacing with back-to-back yellows in succession. Doesn't look like we have a lot of luck getting through time after time now, and it looks like the track is entirely dark. We mentioned our weather earlier in the broadcast, so if we can get a look at it right now, there definitely have been some changes. Track temp of 84 degrees, the air temperature is 81 degrees, so it's only slightly changed overall. Wind is still going to be north at 2 miles an hour, and the humidity down to 34%, so it has gotten slightly cooler here, but the South Carolina skies have not given us much of a change. Darlington staying about the same temperature, maybe a bit cooler, so track conditions have gotten a bit different, but overall, nothing much to ride home about for these drivers, so more of the same as the night's gone on. As they come back to the line yet again, Daniel Falkingham still has that race lead. Looks like only a few takers on pit road further back, namely Kevin McAdams, Jamie Ritchie Price, Art Reimer, Seth Knoll, Scotty Smith, and David Brown. That's the back of the field, though. The leaders up front have chosen to stay out.
And again, we haven't had a chance to talk about it because we've had so many cautions in quick succession here, but 25 laps for these leaders so far, and of course some of those laps run under caution, so a little bit of a skewed data point there to run off of. But from what we've seen tonight, these guys should have about 20 or so more laps on this run. Looking around right now, I would think 4 tires and fuel your next stop, and from what the math has shown us all night, should be around 40 laps to go, and should be good enough to carry it to the end, or at least very, very close to it.
And we're coming into that range of getting this run out. I mean, 68 laps to go. That's the length of our first few stages and then some, but it's not major difference from compared to those first 60-odd lap runs. And of course, expecting a few more yellow flags. We got some longer runs through the middle of the race, but now back to some more chaos, and we haven't gotten a green flag lap in over 10 laps. So now the question is, can Daniel Falkingham and the leaders pull away and bring us back to some longer racing? Seems like as of recent, it's been all about the short racing with the yellow flags back to back, but still 67 laps or less. We can get some longer runs in, and there's still some strategy to play out. Falkingham has had that lead since the end of stage 2. He's had it for about 40-odd laps now, and he's looking to hold on for the rest of the way. Malik Reyes, the big loser on that caution. Falkingham stays ahead, and he still has the rest of the field to deal with, namely Bolin, Parker White, and Wyatt Tinsley right behind.
Yeah, it's a fun spot to be in right now. Hopefully we can get a green flag stint to the end of this thing, but we'll just have to wait and see. Once again, said it last time, but have had some cautions in quick succession, more so than ever at this point. 67 laps to go here at Darlington, and everybody's trying to catch up to that 054. Daniel Falkingham once again going to enter the restart zone, not going to back the field up as much here. Green flag back in the air, and the kick in the tires. Southern 500K. Falkingham, a great launch. Graham Bolin sitting right there, and we are under caution once again. It's Dylan Basin and Ryan Naraki.
And once again, not able to make it past the start-finish line, at least not everyone this time. Basin, Naraki, that's the back of the field, though, so it was the front last time. Now it's all the way at the rear. Let's take a look at this once again. Dylan Basin right there.
Yeah, right behind him, Garrett Conrath just going to drive over Ryan Naraki on the start here and turn Dylan Basin.
And you got to wonder what's going on to that right back of the field. There's no reason to have an incident like that, but it looks like once again, back under yellow. That's outside of the top 25 here, and that's what brings out the caution. Taking a look on board.
And again, it's just a slight misjudgment of that green flag. Garrett Conrath gets in the throttle, and Ryan Naraki was not in the throttle yet, so it just hooks him and turns him into Dylan Basin and puts us under caution again. We'll say I haven't really kept track of it, but I mean we're probably 9 or 10 at this point, I'd say.
If we're not already there, I think we're at the double-digit mark. Yellow flag out. Once again, Daniel Falkingham going to lead them through. At 65 laps to go, this gives these drivers even more fuel range to play with. They've been saving an awful lot under yellow. I think the most experienced in saving fuel are probably using the clutch to get off the motor and use a little less power. But otherwise, it doesn't matter how you're going around here during the pace laps. Fuel is being saved, and it might be a few laps worth, but that could be the difference between pitting, say, with 40 laps to go or 35 laps to go, something of that note. The more yellow flags we get, the more that changes, but so far with so many yellow flags back to back, fuel might not be a big concern, and we might see these drivers try to stick it out even longer.
Something to monitor tonight for sure. Again, just a quick update. For most of our leaders, say Chris Wett's on up. So the first 15 cars, 29 laps on this stint so far, and of course have not been running all those laps under green, so still have some length to go before we see green flag pit stops, or I guess pit stops just again, we'll say. But everybody on back, it's about a 14 lap difference for everybody. Is Drew Jua on back, that 16th position to the tail of the field. Is running about a 16 lap somewhere in their stint at the moment. So if we keep getting cautions like we have been, then that'll all get reset within a matter of time when everybody decides to come down to be good to the end. And that window hasn't quite opened yet. Should see that open up here in about the next 10 to 20 laps though, for everybody. Again, let me see, 63 laps to go. Yeah, around 20 or so laps. Until that window opens up to be good to the end of this thing.
And with so many yellow flags, it's still up for grabs every position. Daniel Falkingham has had to do nothing but hold on for a half lap. for about 15 laps running. He still leads the way. Graham Boland's right behind. Parker White is in third. And despite the fact he's been on such a tear this season, Parker White has not been the indomitable force that we've seen all throughout the championship. He's there inside the podium, been running very well, but besides that one moment with Brian Mercurio, Graham Boland, Daniel Fockingham, and the number 011 all racing together, he hasn't been up there chasing that race victory as aggressive, and he hasn't really had the pace to go up there and steal it away from anyone. So the question really does become, can Parker White come through for another one? Right now, he doesn't look to be in the prime position to do so, but there's still a lot of time, and he's in third, so I'm not quite sure if we'll see much more out of him as we head back to the restart next time around.
I don't know. We've seen a lot so far today. It's been very, very unpredictable here tonight at Darlington, and I mean, I guess we can go through and talk real fast about, Daniel Fockingham. He's been fairly dominant over the second half portion of this race so far, but I mean, we've seen guys like Malik Ray, up here. Grant Boland won stage one, obviously. Both of those guys have had really strong runs. Brian Mercurio was running up front as well. So I don't think it's totally fair to say that Daniel Fockingham is just going to run away with it at this point, because we have seen a lot of unpredictability inside this top five. We've seen some incidents bite these guys. Usually it's a little more towards that mid-pack section, but it has not been limited to that tonight. Again, with guys like Malik Ray, Brian Mercurio all wrecking inside the top 10 tonight. So something to keep in mind for sure, and Parker White definitely has a great chance. Graham Boland, Wyatt Tinsley, all these guys inside the top 5-10 really do. And we'll see if we can get a run here going to the end. Either way, Daniel Fockingham going to lead us once again, getting big stacked up throughout the field right now. And right now, Graham Boland right with Fockingham. Looks like throughout the field, though, we're going to be good this time by, and looks like we'll get to the exit of turn 2 this time.
And getting back into the swing of things, Daniel Fockingham leads, but not by much. He's got some pressure right beside him. Graham Boland's down low, and he's been waiting all this time to show what he's got. Now it's going to be Graham down to the bottom side trying to make a move, while Fockingham uses that high side to his advantage. Drag race to the straight. Daniel's got it up in front, but not by much. They'll be side by side to 1 and 2 once again.
Oh, side by side, still a little bit of contact between Graham Boland and Daniel Fockingham, still making contact off the exit of turn 2. Here comes Parker White. He made it 3 wide before, not going to do it this time. Big shove to the back of Daniel Fockingham. 3 cars right up here for the lead. They're still just interlocked in this battle right now. Graham Boland trying to take it on the inside. Daniel Fockingham coming with the run, though. Now Parker White going to give him a shove once again to try to propel him past. Still side by side into turn 1. Does Parker White have anything for these two?
And now the question is Parker White going to throw that 3 wide move down? He did it before. Will he do it again? He's locked in right behind Fockingham. Gives Daniel a shove. He's clear once again, but now it's going to be Parker White working on Graham Boland. Daniel's got the advantage. 59 laps to go. Now Parker's going to be involved looking for race win number 11. And it's going to be Parker going low. Doesn't have enough room. He'll have to stay up there with Fockingham.
He thought about it for sure. Parker White going to tag the wall a little bit. All this battling has put Michael Guest and Wyatt Tinsley right in the thick of it. Michael P. Frisch as well with a little bit of damage all over each other right now, the top 3. Here comes Graham Boland again. Parker White going to give him a little bit of shove down to turn number 3. Still side by side, Graham Boland and Daniel Fockingham. Parker White looking for anything he can. Little bit of contact again. Graham Boland going to put him up in the wall. Boland almost spins, somehow keeps it straight. Still, all 4 of these cars under a blanket for the lead. Fockingham retains it.
Those two were up on each other to the point where they were connected. Unbelievable driving. Somehow they both save it, and somehow Fockingham still has the lead. Look like they'd be up in the wall or spinning at some point, but both drivers save it, and they give way to Parker White. Now Parker's going to be chasing, and he's got Fockingham just ahead of him. Your 2 most recent race winners are now connected first and second, while Parker White comes in with 3 consecutive victories. Fockingham is hungry for his second, only after Michigan. Both drivers are going to lead the way, and they've been dominant as of recent. Maybe Parker's been doing the heavy lifting before, but tonight it might be for Fockingham as he leads Parker down the straightaway once again.
Calming down for the time being. Parker White looking around a little bit, just peeks though, hasn't really made a committal. Get down to the inside or outside. Oh, and now Michael P. Frisch going to get turned by Wyatt Tinsley. Both of them slam into the wall. Sebastian Marin's in it as well, and we are under caution once again from Darlington. Michael P. Frisch slams the outside wall and now has a considerable amount of damage. Once again, another wreck strikes inside the top 10.
Just like that, the head of the field brings out a caution. Sebastian Marin, Michael Frisch, and both drivers going to go around. And we'll take a look at it once again. 55 laps to go amidst a heated race lead battle. Not too far behind, you'll see that number 58, Michael P. Frisch involved. You see Wyatt Tinsley, and there's contact. Was that net code? I'm not quite sure. Looked like some room between them, and it's going to catch Sebastian Marin as well.
And you see Frisch off the pace. Another look at it right here is Wyatt Tinsley, and again, a similar wreck to what we saw with Kevin McAdams a little bit earlier. Either way, Wyatt Tinsley, Marin, Frisch, all with pretty significant damage there. Tough way to end the night for those guys, and you know, they're going to be able to hold on. Maybe you see Marin still on track here. He's going to come down and try to fix that. See more cars on pit road here. Includes your leader, Daniel Falkingham, Parker White, Graham Bolin, Michael Guest, all on the pit lane. But either way, puts us in a strange spot. So we mentioned that going to be opening up around that 40 to go mark, and now with 53 to go, it's like some of these guys think they might be able to make it to the end here. Cars do stay out, but among those who pit, looks like first one off going to be Daniel Falkingham. Parker White right along with him as well. Take a look at the two that stayed out. That was Garrett Conrath and Brian Mercurio. Seth Knowles there as well, but he is not on the lead lap. Same goes for Kevin McAdams, David L. Brown, and Art Reimer. All these guys are lap down, so weren't eligible to come down the pit road last time by. So looks like only two cars here going to stay out during this cycle.
And it doesn't look like anyone trying to risk it right now as it stands. Conrad and Mercurio. This will put Brian back up in front. But we're not going to be, of course, all too sure about how long that will be. Number 41 doesn't have all too much visible damage from this angle, but after some contact, sent to the back of the field, and now he's back up there chasing the top spot. He's got Daniel Falkingham right behind, and Parker White now in second. Michael Guest actually makes a few spots up, and he'll now be third of those with newer tires. So Michael Guest, who's been quietly, slowly but surely working his way up in front, now is right behind two of the juggernauts as of recent. He might have not been as aggressive as White or Falkingham on the most recent runs, but he's right there as well and might have something to put for this race battle. Might be a third driver entering, not just the drivers just ahead of him.
Perhaps a redemption opportunity here for guys like Garrett Conrath, Brian Mercurio, who are, again, a little bit off cycle at this point, but not by much. Again, with all those cautions thrown in, they're actually in a pretty good spot. 12 laps so far into this stint for everybody, or at least for those two, and then everybody on back. Daniel Falkingham, Parker White, Michael Guest, David L. Brown, etc. All just came in during this caution. So, should set us up for a restart. Believe the lights are going to go out on the pace car. Yes, they do. So we'll be coming to the line with an even 50 laps to go at Darlington, lap 179 of 228. It has been a long, demanding night from these drivers, and just eclipsed about 2 hours in this race so far. Lots of cautions tonight, but we have had a few green flag runs sprinkled in there, and has set us up for potentially some strategy hijinks at the end of it.
Now it's such a small amount of time left on the board. 51 laps to go, going to 50. There still is a chance to get some differences in strategy. Garrett Conrath, Brian Mercurio, they definitely have to pit, so maybe the best thing for them is to try to run it long and hold it out up in front. What Daniel Falkingham did, maybe it can be done again. but not quite sure about how Conrath and Mercurio can hold on. 2 cars against the field. Old tires and new. Let's head back to it with 50 laps remaining.
For the first time tonight, it's going to be Garrett Conrath who leads us into the restart zone. Pace car pulled onto the pit lane. He leads Brian Mercurio, Falkingham, Parker White, Michael Guest to the green flag and gets a fantastic launch. Mercurio in tow. Still about a 2 to 3 car length gap going into turn number 1. Falkingham right on the tire tracks of Mercurio for second place, though.
And it does not matter who you are off the jump. It's going to be Jonathan Oates down low. Big slide there. Looks like the rest of the field keeps it under green, but that looked to be another incident barely avoided. The 73 comes back up on the track, and the leaders get away quite well as we look back
Oh,
up
no,
there.
it's going to spin. Down to the inside wall. He makes contact. He almost spun up into the outside wall in front of the field, but got it down to that inside lane instead. No caution. And chaos erupting throughout the field. Here comes Brian Mercurio for the lead on Garrett Conrath. Parker White passes Falkingham for the 3rd position. New leader, Brian Mercurio, and we saw him involved in that spin earlier. Rebounded, and now has the lead. 48 laps to go at the Darlington Raceway in the Kick in the Tires Southern 500K.
And a lot of shuffling throughout the pack now, taking a look further in the field. One driver going to be off of the track racing surface. That's Drew Jua. Looks like he's going to be in another set of trouble and find himself further off the pace once again. Drew Jua not having the best of nights as Parker White is now in second and Garrett Conrath is still ahead of Daniel Falkingham. It looks like Daniel has more trouble getting by Garrett, which gives Parker White the opportunity to go ahead of the number 54 cautions out.
It's Kevin McAdams in turn number 4. Backs into the outside wall. Looks like he'll be able to drive away from it, but puts us under caution once again. Kicking the Tires Southern 500K, and we'll get a replay right here. Looks like maybe a little bit of contact with Jonathan Oshalem. Just gets him sideways. Can't save it right there. Car spins around and backs it in the outside wall right there. Just a little bop. And a tough race for Kevin McAdams. Going to continue there.
And just like that, some more trouble for Kevin McAdams. Yellow flag flies once again, and we keep seeing these cautions. It's going to become even more hard or challenging, per se, to pick out what happens next. Brian Mercurio keeps the lead, but now it's going to be Parker White making himself an old tire sandwich. He's ahead of Garrett Conrath. He's behind Brian Mercurio, and all of a sudden, now Parker White is alone. New tires amidst the old.
With that, I mean, we're going to have pit stops right here, but we'll get you up to date and reorganize as right before we take the green flag. Going to step aside real fast with these messages. 46 laps to go. Brian Mercurio trying to hold off Parker White and co. at Darlington. Welcome back to Darlington as the lights are still on the pace car, and Brian Mercurio retains the lead. 44 laps to go at Darlington. We find ourselves in caution-bitten back half of this race, and it's been really a mix of drivers. Daniel Falkingham has had what feels like an unstoppable car the second half. Don't know if that's just a result of clean air or what, but we have an opportunity here to see what Brian Mercurio can do with the lead. The aforementioned Falkingham sitting back in 4th place right now. Did want to update everybody real fast. 2 cars who stayed out on that, it was 2 cautions ago. Brian Mercurio, Garrett Conrath, they run 1st and 3rd. Parker White on 11-lap fresher tires, along with Daniel Falkingham, Grant Boland, Michael Guest, Jack Mace. And that goes down the running order until about the 19th position. So Mercurio and Conrath pretty much fishes out of water right now.
And it's still surprising to see them up in front, of course. Not a long green flag run yet again, but at the same time, Mercurio, he's holding that lead. The question is, with Parker White now right behind him, is it over for Mercurio? I mean, we saw trouble passing drivers with these older tires before. We saw it being as easy as it can get. And now, with the ever-aggressive field right behind, I mean, Daniel Falkingham, he's caught up. Parker White, he wants spots. He wants another win. It's going to be different. And Mercurio's now in the worst position. He's going to be a sitting duck.
Field coming out of turn number 4. 43 laps to go in the kick in the tires. Southern 500K. It's going to be Dr. Bob leading them to the green flag once again. Parker White still in tow. Getting stacked up a little further back. Graham Boland's looking for places to put that number 93. Didn't have it. Daniel Falkingham. Looks like we're wrecking in the back. Caution flag out once again. It's Joseph Armstrong up against the wall in front of the pack. The rest of the field making evasive maneuvers. We are under caution once again at Darlington.
And that one was hard to even see. He was going in and out in our feed there. Looks like Armstrong trouble once again. Looks like because of him having some trouble with connection, he was not tagged by anyone. Brings out the caution all the same, and we're back under yellow with Joseph Armstrong car involved. We saw him in the first caution very early in the race, and now he's back again. Let's take a look and find out what caused it.
And again, the Armstrong disappears there, but there is some initial contact there, I believe, between he and Brandon Hawken, and that's just at that cusp of the top 10. Landon Mills made a big move to make it 3 wide down to the inside. I don't know if Hawken was just reacting to that or what, but the 99 and 20 come together and puts us under caution once again. So if anybody was curious, elapsed time in the session right now has been 2 hours, 18 minutes, and 55 seconds since the drop of the green flag, and it was rolling by, but we're starting to feel that time now with our rapid succession cautions. But hopefully these guys can get it back going, and we can get a good run to the end. Well, knock on wood, because I haven't been doing that. Hopefully that gets us back on track.
And we're in no jeopardy of running out of time in this server. There's still 2 hours and 10 minutes left on the clock in case things get even crazier. But 40 laps to go, and caution laps counting, we're still making time. So despite all the troubles we've seen, I think it's been 5 or 6 cautions within the last 30-odd laps. We're still going down. Brian Mercurio still keeps the lead. Parker White is there with Garrett Conrath, and Daniel Falkingham and Graham Bolden remain inside the top 5. So with this way, of course, of driving so many yellow flags in a row, maybe Brian Mercurio has exactly what he needs. The tires continue to get cooler, not using them as much. It might be a minimal difference, but every lap counts, and maybe there's still a pit stop in play before it's all said and done.
40 laps to go at Darlington, and for anybody curious today, no, it is not Jacob Hitz in the booth as usual, but did want to take a moment just in his honor, because he's not here today, to do something that I know if he were here, he would have broken out at this point. But college football came back today, and it is officially time for football again in the States. And for my own Tennessee Volunteers, they got a 49-13 victory. I don't know if you follow it, David, but you have a team that won or lost today?
I've actually got to look it up right now. I don't even know who plays here in New York when it comes to college football. The only college that comes to mind is Syracuse, and I'm not sure if they're involved at all. I'm not really a college football guy, I'll tell you this much.
Literally just Googled the tab of college football scores, and we're gonna look down them real fast. Tulane beat South Alabama. Alabama, the real Alabama, number 4 ranked, beat Middle Tennessee State 56-7 today. There were lots of blowouts today. I saw Oregon put up, it was 81-7, Oregon versus Portland State. And then just a few more notable ones. Ohio State, 3rd ranked in the country, beat Indiana 23-3. Notre Dame beat Tennessee State 56-3. And then your other top 5 ranked team in Michigan beat East Carolina 30-3 today. So lights are out on the pace car, and that'll end our little college football segment. But Jacob, if you're out in the universe, we miss you and hope you're doing well today. Either way, 38 laps to go, and we're really starting to get down into the last little bits of the Kicking the Tire Southern 500K. And Brian Mercurio, he has an opportunity here to do what Daniel Falkingham did just a few runs prior, where maybe he can catch these guys on their next cycle with a caution. Cautions at this point would definitely help Brian Mercurio. Hopefully cycles everybody out into that last stop. Should be 1 remaining to get to the end. We are just about at that buffer zone of 38 laps to go. But either way, going to be interesting here. We'll see if we can get a few laps going. But Admin's warning everybody to get those gaps in so we don't run over each other here on the starts, as has been the case the last few times. Either way, Brian Mercurio, Parker White lead the field to green in the Kicking the Tire Southern 500K. Brian Mercurio with a great launch, and throughout the field going to make sure and monitor that we don't have any more stack-ups.
And back on the move once again, Mercurio gets a nice jump, and it looks like he's already back to the leading way. Side by side down low, you'll see Daniel Falkingham trying to make it around Garrett Conrath, and now that he's got a chance to take that pass, he might be hoping for another caution. He's trying to get that position, get right behind Parker White, and with all that track position that can be gained by just getting by 1 driver, it would mean a lot to stack them all up. Well, hopefully, though, we'll get a longer run in, but Falkingham gets by the much-needed pass here for Garrett Conrath, and looks like Graham Bolin, Michael Guest.
Conrath's going to get turned off turn number 2. He somehow saves it all the way down to the inside wall. It was contact with Michael Guest, turns Garrett Conrath. He's going to go from the top 5 to right now outside of almost the top 15. What a save for Conrath.
And a great move there to keep us on the way. That is the difference between another yellow flag and another slow down and keeping us alive. Great move there for Garrett Conrath, and he's going to be still on the move. Nice stuff there. He's in 14th, and he's got a chance to claw back a few drivers if he just gets it in and gets back going. Great driving there, and with 35 laps to go, he's still got a chance. As we take a look up in front, Graham Bolin's fighting with Daniel Falkingham, and that's the battle for the 3rd position. Now it's going to be Graham Bolin right down low. Graham's got a shot to the bottom. He'll try to take it on Daniel, but Daniel remains up high. Not for much longer. Now Falkingham fades back to 4th.
Falkingham making slight contact with the wall there. See Michael Guest as well right behind them. The top 2 have really kind of started to run away with this thing. And Brian Mercurio and Parker White. And speaking of, Parker White's going to dip down to the inside, trying to look for the lead from Brian Mercurio. Back in, steps out. Didn't quite have the grip to make that one work. He'll have to regroup and recollect, try to make that one happen again. Parker White tries to get to the back bumper of that Dr. Bob machine. Off at turn number 2. Made up some ground, but not enough to challenge him for the lead into turn 3, I don't think.
And it looks like Mercurio going to be taking a page out of the Daniel Falkingham playbook, but not for much longer. Now Parker White, on the verge of going for 11 victories, finds himself on the bottom. Down to the low side, he's got it, and it looks like Parker White, for the first time, sniffs the race lead, but he'll have to work for it once again right down low.
Mercurio trying to make it challenging for him. Doesn't have that momentum off corner exit, but neither does Mercurio, as he's going to slap the wall, and that might open the door for Parker White to make a move. Still going to be side by side. We've seen it all day. It's so hard to make a work on the inside, but Parker White's going to try it. Mercurio, again with that momentum on the high side, going to propel him just forward enough to retain the race lead. Parker White looks down to the inside. Think he's going to fall back in line, though. Brian Mercurio just held off a crazy surge from Parker White there. 31 laps to go, and the Dr. Bob machine chugging along strong still.
And Brian Mercurio not going to give away this opportunity to get this race victory. After all that he's gone through up and down throughout the field, now he finds himself back in the position to go through and taste victory lane. He's been oh so close. Several runner-up finishes this season, but has still not locked it down and gotten it into victory lane. Now with 30 laps to go, despite the older tires, he's still up in front, and he's only got Parker White to deal with. Even though it's one driver, it could be the most intimidating of all the series history, one of the biggest single seasons for any individual, and now White still on the back bumper.
Parker White chasing history here today. He's going to have to get through Brian Mercurio to do it, and that's no easy task. Brian Mercurio himself has been trying to fight for a win for so long, has been winless all year, still second in the points to the aforementioned Parker White. And Mercurio has a good shot here. He's just going to have to hold on with these older tires. And right now, he is right about at that stint. 35 laps so far, where that's been the buffer zone from what we've seen all day, about the longest you can go. And, of course, we have those caution laps factored in. So I'd say at the max, he can only go about 10 to 15 more laps. He's going to need a caution before then.
And he's heading into uncharted territory here, and if he has to go any longer, he will know something that nobody in the field does. He's got much worse tire, but he's holding on quite well, saving lap after lap and doing just enough to keep Parker White at bay. He was down there on the bottom side. He had the lead a few moments before, but it looks like for now, Parker White's going to remain about a car length behind, just enough for Brian Mercurio to keep that advantage and find himself ahead with 27 laps still remaining.
Parker White all over the back bumper of Brian Mercurio, and right now it's starting to feel like maybe a two-horse race for the win here at Darlington. White looking down to the inside for a moment, can't quite get there. And Brian Mercurio, I think, just trying to hold on and hope for a caution at this point, but we've done good finding ourselves in the longest run of probably the last 30 to 40 laps. And again, Mercurio just trying to hold on at this point, I think, with how worn out those tires are at this point.
Finally, the drivers are getting into a rhythm here, and as they're going to look off the back bumper here from Brian Mercurio, he's got Parker White and that Micro Center Toyota Camry all over him. Actually, one of the better runs off the corner there from Mercurio, exactly what he needed, and all of a sudden it looks like Parker White fading a bit further. The question is he backing up a run? Is he waiting to get that draft and come right back up, or is it really a sign of Parker White perhaps fading out of view? Now he's going to be the furthest he's been off of our race leader for over 10 laps, and this might be the difference between Mercurio on top and Parker White coming home with the win. Now we're going to find out whether or not he was truly backing up that run, or if Brian Mercurio has a chance to come through for his first win of the season as Parker goes right behind turns 1 and 2.
And Parker White, I mean, he has a handful in his own race car at this point. I mean, this is truly a battle of having to battle the racetrack as well as the guys around you. And I mean, we mentioned Parker White. We talk about fresh rubber, but it is still not fresh by any means. They have just logged their 30th lap on this set. For Brian Mercurio, about, again, 10 laps difference, 41 that last time by. Right now, Mercurio and White trying to run away with it right now, but Grant Boland's really not letting that happen in that number 93 Splash and Go Graphics throwback machine. And right now, I mean, he's chasing him down. It's subtle, but it's happening. Right now, about an 800ths different that last time by, but out of the three, he is still fastest.
Both Boland and Falkingham were quicker that time by. As a matter of fact, they tie on lap time. at first calculation, give the edge to Graham Bolin, and now it looks like Bolin's a tenth of a second quicker per lap than each of the top 2 drivers. So maybe Graham still has himself a chance. With 22 laps remaining, he's got to make up less than 22 tenths of a second, so I think there's a chance here. Graham is chasing them down. He's clearly quicker, and with Parker White wasting all his equipment here right behind the aging tires of Brian Mercurio, Graham Bolin, with a bit of cleaner air, can maybe make it by Parker White and then go for a 2-for-1 and get by Brian immediately thereafter.
If I'm Brian Mercurio right now, I'm waiting till the absolute last second I can to come down the pit road. Again, right now, lap 43 on this stint. That would be by far the furthest we've seen on fuel and tires today if Mercurio was able to make that work. So I don't think that's going to be in the cards, but maybe he can push it a little further just as a result of all those cautions. Still, though, he doesn't seem bothered by it because he's just been focusing on holding off this 011 machine of Parker White. White has a run throughout the middle of the corner. He gets on the back bumper of Mercurio and makes contact going down into turn number 3. Is that going to be enough? Looks like it will be. He's going to be down to the inside. They're going to be side by side off turn number 4. Can he make it stick? He hasn't been able to yet, but with Mercurio on the oldest tires we've seen all day, now would be the time if you're Parker White. 19 laps to go. Here comes Graham Bolin.
And Graham Bolin now going to be on the back bumper of Parker White. That might have been White's best shot, and now Bolin's going to put down the pressure. All of a sudden, Daniel Falkingham is coming too. It could be 4 drivers going in for it at the end of the day, and they're all within 1/2 second. Now it's going to be a bundle up in front. Mercurio still holds on, but Graham Bolin goes down low, and it looks like Falkingham's going to take a bit of draft there and watch the second place battle get even more heated up. Side by side, banging doors. White's going to be left in the dust, and now Daniel Falkingham is right there too.
White tags the wall there, and now Graham Bolin has usurped the second position away. Daniel Falkingham right there as well, but that's going to all go out the window. Caution flag on the racetrack. It's Brett Pancari, Jonathan Oshalim, Michael P. Frisch makes contact as well, and that might be the saving grace Brian Mercurio needed. And it's all because of Brett Pancari, Jonathan Oshalim, and Michael P. Frisch in turn number 1. Caution flag again. Or excuse me, that's turn number 4.
And just like that, caution flag will fly all over again. Jonathan Oshalim, as you mentioned. So let's take a look back and find out what happened. We're looking at Brett Pancari at the moment. Looking at the leaders here, but it happens with Oshalim coming up the track and collecting Pancari. It looks like he went up the banking. And we'll take a further view of it. You'll see Pancari. Looks like some contact there. Going to set him around. Seth Knoll going to keep him up top. And that's when Pancari is collected.
Tough position there. You see that secondary contact by Michael P. Frisch to Oshalim. Looks like, just down on the inside. Back end steps out and can't do anything if you're Jonathan Oshalim. However, this does mean everybody's going to be back on the same strategy. Brian Mercurio leads the field down the pit lane, and much like Daniel Falkingham before him, stays out, sees that track position is key, able to hold on, and what a drive for Brian Mercurio, even if he doesn't come out of here with a win. Held off Parker White multiple instances on those older tires. Just a fantastic job for the driver of the number 41, trying to pick up his first win on the season. However, it's going to be Graham Bolin and Parker White beating Brian Mercurio off the pit lane, and all of a sudden this lead group has been reshuffled. Going to be Graham Bolin with the lead. Under 20 laps to go, so throw fuel, throw tires, all out of the equation. This is going to be a pure race to the finish.
And a few drivers making big gains. Dylan Basin is up to 5th. Daniel Falkingham fades into 6th. And Jonathan Oates is going to be in 7th. So some drivers gain big time, others not so much. But Graham Bolin, who's oh so quick on that final run there, now has the race lead. And Parker White, chasing win number 11, is still in the picture. Brian Mercurio doesn't lose many spots, but he does have less track position. Having that lead for oh so long, much more comfortable. And even with those new tires, it's going to be tricky to get back up there. So with the shuffling in play, it's definitely going to be a different outlook with the final 15 still counting down.
It's Going to take a heck of a surge from anybody to win this race. If Graham Boland can hold on here for the last 15 laps, I mean, it's what we've seen the precedent so far where you get this lead on the restarts, and typically they're not able to catch you for a good little bit. So if we have cautions in quick succession like we have had the second part of this race, then I think Graham Boland's going to be in a great spot. However, if there's anybody that can break that, it's going to be Parker White. Again, we've talked about his record-breaking year all season long. Of course, a series-leading 10 wins and tied for all-time record with Taylor Morgan's back in 2020. But on iRacing, it's been pretty unprecedented the amount of success Parker White's had this year. Brian Mercurio, we've mentioned how he's been second in points coming into today. Hasn't had an opportunity to get that win yet, but this might be the closest he's been all season long. A handful of second-place finishes for number 41 machine, but he's going to have an opportunity here tonight if he plays his cards right. Michael Guess has had a quiet night up inside the top 5 as well, but he is right in the thick of it as well. How about this? Dylan Basin finds himself in the 5th position right now and pitted with everybody else, so kind of surprised to see that 04 after, again, he's been involved in a few incidents tonight, but shrugged all that off and is now in great position maybe to make a late race charge at this win.
And Dylan Basin might be the dark horse here in this pack with 13 laps to go. You're right about this one. Basin, out of nowhere, now has himself inside of your top 5 here. 14 laps to go, and this could be the final restart, but never say never. We've seen drivers risking it all, lap after lap. And even though we're running out of time here, it could be even different. We could get one more yellow. We could go all the way. Nothing is certain. And Graham Boland, he knows it. He's been up and down the leading pack all throughout the night, and now finds himself ahead of the biggest juggernaut in the field. Parker White, 10-time winner, looking to break records, make history.
Gonna extend the caution by 1 lap here. Looks like we have a little dispute over track position, so that'll scrub off another lap for Graham Boland. And again, trying to get that figured out for the time being. And again, good news for Graham Boland. And if you're Parker White, Brian Mercurio, you want this to get solved as quickly as possible. But it gives us an additional lap to figure things out here. Once again, we'll run you down through the top 10. Graham Boland right now leads Parker White, Brian Mercurio in 3rd, Michael Guest 4th, Dylan Basin. Daniel Falkingham has been so good tonight. It would be a good move if he could get back up past Basin and make some noise, but remains to be seen for that 054 machine. Jonathan Oates 7th, Landon Mills inside the top 10 and 8th, Brandon Hawk in 9th, and Jack Mace rounds out your top 10 as they run currently. So again, I think we should be good to get the restart this time by, but anything could happen here. But again, Boland, who's going to have a fantastic shot to run away with it here. He's going to have to hold off Parker White, though. We saw him making moves on Brian Mercurio there on that last stint. He's going to have to do the same to Graham Boland. Pace car going to dip down onto the pit lane. Boland will lead the field back to the green flag here in Kicking the Tires Southern 500K. Boland down through turn number 1. Parker White follows as well, and it looks like nobody really wants to peek out just yet with 12 laps to go.
It's a nice jump there for Graham Boland, but Parker White still going to be right there with them as they come through this time by 3 and 4. Nothing much has been seen up in front. A little bit of a dispute back in the field.
Oh, caution once again. They're wrecking. It's a big wreck in turn number 3. And it's going to involve Joseph Armstrong. I think Matt Spalding might have been a part of it as well. You see a big wreck there in turn number 3, and we'll get a replay of it right there. It puts us under caution and going to give us a restart with under 10 laps to go.
And just like that, we're running out of time even further. It's going to be a true sprint to the finish. And you saw there Joseph Armstrong, one of the many involved. We saw Garrett Conrath, and we'll take a look further back to find out what caused it here. Just some wiggling off the corner, and from there, it gets much trickier.
I mean, Matt Spalding tried to make it 3 wide on the bottom. You see Joseph Armstrong Even Armstrong here makes a daring move going to the inside of all of this. And then Balding takes it even further in that 7 car, and Balding just gets turned into Melillo. Lawson Peel has nowhere to go. And a big wreck puts us under caution. Again, going to give us a restart with under 10 laps to go. But in no way around it. We've had a ton of cautions tonight. And don't know if that's going to hold true within the last 10 laps. I hope it doesn't, because we've had a heck of a battle. Tons of comers and goers up at the front, and it would be a shame to not be able to see Parker White, Brian Mercurio, Falkingham as well. These guys that have been up front all day get a shot here to take this away from Graham Boland.
And once again under yellow, and it looks like the final stage of this race has been largely controlled by these cautions, so it's harder to see the battle continue to develop, which is a shame indeed, because Graham Boland right now, he might have that top spot, but it is going to be no walk away. If these drivers behind him get any chance to get to the bumper and race them, it's going to be intense all the way to the finish. Every driver here wants to win for one reason or another, and I'm certain if they get that chance, it's going to be one finish to remember. Now we've got time running out. Looks like pit strategy going to be done and done for the remainder of the race. Everyone seems to be on the same strategy for the conclusion here, but the big thing is going to be whether or not we get those yellows. That will determine if there's any battle for the win, and even then, who's got a chance? Drivers like Basin, Falkingham, Landon Mills, and Brandon Hawken, they're sitting outside of the top 5 here, save for Dylan Basin, of course, and that's a risky position to be in, because you can't really make much a move without getting involved in some trouble here at Darlington. You're going to need a bit more time to make those moves, time we don't have.
And a good summary of the last 60 or 70 laps or so. It has put us in an interesting position here. You see the light still on the pace car, and that'd be interesting here for Graham Boland and guys like Parker White, Brian Mercurio. I don't know, with how dominant these leaders have been, the control car is really on the restarts. It's been no question how dominant they've been. With how little time we have left, you think that Parker White, Brian Mercurio, guys like that are going to have a shot at this thing? Say if we get a restart with 7 laps to go, because it's been really tough to pass all night long.
And the challenge of passing, especially the leader, is going to be more pronounced here. 8 laps to go, coming to 7. If you want to do anything, you've got to get that run very quick. And almost every restart we've seen all throughout the race, the leader gets a jump of at least a 1/10.5, if not 2 tenths. So if you don't make it perfect off the line, you are in no man's land. No way to get back immediately. You've got to get that momentum back up. And with such a small amount of laps on the table, if you're not perfect, you might as well be done for, save for a mistake from Graham Boland, which we haven't seen so far. Right now, with the pressure on, maybe there'll be a different side to this 93 that we just don't know yet.
Inside, 10 laps to go on the Kicking the Tires Southern 500K, and it's Graham Boland who's going to lead the field to the green flag. He leads Parker White, Brian Mercurio, Michael Guest, and Dylan Basin, who are top 5 pace car. Pull off once again down to pit lane. It's like Boland with a little bit of trickery here going to stack Parker White up. You're going to see if Parker White can stay with him here. Green flag back in the air, and a great launch from Graham Boland. It's going to be really hard to pass him here within the last 7 laps at Darlington.
That's exactly the launch he needed, almost 0.3 of a second off the bat, and Boland is flying down the straightaway. Just like that, Parker White going to be just about 0.2 back, getting that draft once again. Mercurio's right there too. Don't count out Michael Guest or Dylan Mason, but so far, it's just enough for Graham Boland to get that rocket launch.
Oh, Mercurio's going to spin down to the inside, slaps the inside wall, no caution though, and that incredible rebound we've been talking about for the entire second portion of this race has all gone up in smoke within the last 6 laps. Tough break for Mercurio, but now it's going to be up to Parker White if he's going to be able to catch Graham Boland. No help from behind at this point. Mano y mano right now. Does Michael Guest have anything for him?
And all of a sudden, another rebuild all race long goes away in the final portion. 5 laps to go, this time through for Graham Boland. Parker White is still not close enough to make that move, but he's getting even closer. Using that high side, gets that momentum, and it's going to be less than 1/10 of a second as
Caution!
they come through.
Joseph Armstrong once again up into the outside wall in turn number 2, and back-to-back wrecks for that 020 machine. Really has had a very tough back portion of this race, and I think it's going to be a little more contact with he and Ryan Naraki. Going to set us up for a very late race restart, and has really thrown this finish on its head. It's going to be just Parker White and Graham Boland, and you'll see why it won't be here. Naraki gets out of the throttle. Joseph Armstrong tries to go through the middle, and then just a little bit of contact puts Naraki up in the wall and spins the 020 machine around. And again, just running out of real estate here at Darlington. And can't say it enough.
It's been a really rough race for Joseph Armstrong. From the first caution onward, he's been bouncing up and down. Multiple incidents, and as you mentioned, once again involved in this caution. 4 he's been directly involved in, and countless others we've seen. He might have been involved in a few more there. It's been many yellows littering the track all night long, and now Graham Boland has that lead, but it's going to be an even riskier situation. It's going to be, as far as I'm concerned here, an overtime finish to get this race done and done. This is tricky for any driver, and with Parker White, Michael Guest, Basin behind, even Daniel Falkingham too, when the best in the business are right there, it's got to be tough.
And you alluded to it, but one guy that did not want to see that caution flag is Parker White. Is not only is it going to be significantly more challenging to catch Graham Boland and pass him for the lead, but now he's going to have to worry about the likes of Michael Guest, Dylan Basin, Daniel Falkingham all behind him. I mean, that's no short task. He's going to have to do a lot here, and if you're Graham Boland, instead of having to worry about holding off a surging Parker White for the last 6 laps, you only have to worry about doing it for the last 2, as I believe we should be headed into overtime here.
Thinking that is the same. The official extension should be coming around on timing and scoring this time by, and that launch is going to be everything. If Boland gets that launch, it's not a done deal, but it's going to be a lot of the workload out of the way just by making it through those first 2 corners. Officially, the race will be extended for an overtime finish. Now the official estimate is lap 229, which should be extended a bit further because we're still pacing and the lights are on the pace car, so things are going to change. But one thing's for certain, this is overtime.
Overtime indeed, and for anybody that was curious, should be good on gas and tires. Even if we do get 3 green white checkers, if we have to use all of them, we pitted only about 20 laps to go, and should put us over. You know, we should be good here by a good 10-20 laps, so shouldn't be much of a concern for anybody at this point. It's just going to be, again, a pure race to the finish for a lot of these guys. And again, this entire race has been setting up Graham Boland. Won stage 1 and had nothing short of a dominant performance there. Got past Malik Ray, and it was just no looking back for Graham Boland. He got cycled out a little bit because of pit strategy, but Parker White has been safe and securely up inside the top 5, if not the top 3 all day, really, and now has an opportunity to walk out of here with his 11th win on the season. Guest has had a quiet night, but he's been up inside the top 10, top 5. Basin as well with a surprising run, just out of how much damage this car had at one point. Been involved in a few of them, but again, finds himself up inside the top 5 with a really good points opportunity, if not a win. Then Falkingham, your stage 2 winner, up inside this top 5 as well, as we could be on our final restart here.
An overtime finish, not guaranteed to be the last, but if we get to that white flag, as it always goes, the race is official. Checkers or wreckers, we might see both the way things have gone, and it's all up to Graham Boland getting this start. It's been an electric race so far in the Southern 500 kilometer, and Now, with overtime on the way, it's all up to whether or not Bolin gets the launch. Can Parker White make that history regardless? That remains to be seen. Coming through this time by, pace cars in, we're extending this one. Welcome to overtime.
What does Graham Bolin have up his sleeve here? And what does Parker White have up his sleeve to counteract? We'll just have to wait and see. Looks like we're getting bunched together. Overtime in the Barr Visuals FTF Cup Series, kicking the tires, Southern 500K. Great launch for Graham Bolin. Going to be hard for Parker White. Pick up the slack, but he's going to have to try something here as it looks throughout the field. We're going to be okay. Off turn 2 comes the pack. It's snarling by.
Bolin's got that launch, exactly what he needed, and they're going to be wrecking right behind. Looks like there's going to be multiple in the wall, cautions out, and that's going to involve, it looks to be, Jack Mace, Aaron Riolo.
Aaron Riolo down to the inside. Going to put us under caution once again, and going to have to use our second green-white checkered attempt, and you'll see right here, it looks like Jack Mace tagged the wall. Aaron Riolo, this 109 car in front of him, just kind of parks it, and then a little bit of contact between those two.
And just like that, the yellow back on the field, some mid-pack action brings us back to the caution. And another change in how this race is going to go. Overtime finish, second attempt. We're back under yellow again with Jack Mace speeding back up to the middle of the field here. Looks like he's trying to get some positions back or go to pit road now as he was flying through. Now he'll stay on the apron and come in this time by.
Gonna take a moment here and try to dissect the mind of second place Parker White right before we get this restart. Parker, it's been so hard to pass, especially when you're trying to pass the control car and you get such a jump on these restarts. Do you think you have anything up your sleeve to counteract that?
Yeah, if I could just get a good restart and stay on his bumper, I think I'll have a good shot. If I could just stay in the dirty area, it should give the car a bit of drive off. And if I could just get to his bumper, get to his inside or something, I think I could contest for the lead.
Yeah, not trying to distract you too much at this point, but good luck on this final restart here, and we'll be talking to you afterwards.
All right, thank you.
And you heard him there. It really is as simple as just get a good restart and stick on that bumper. And it is a lot easier said than done if you're Parker White, but it is doable. We have seen it tonight. If you're able to be on that bumper, not only going into turn 1, but right off that exit of turn 2, then you're going to be in a really good spot. It's just a matter of, can you pull off that execution when it matters the most?
And execution is always so critical here in a restart scenario. Now, these drivers, they have their fair share of experience with these restarts, but at Darlington, you take that pressure, you take that troublesome situation, and it gets that much more intense. Not much room to work with. These drivers are going to be pushing at their wits' end. There's a lot on the line to get a victory just before the regular season ends, let alone getting a victory at all. And even if you got 1 win, even if you got 10 wins heading into the night, you always want that next taste of victory lane. So I think right now, if there's no execution on the launch, then it's fair game to see a huge battle. But I think Graham Bolin's got to do the same thing he's done every lap he's been as the leader at a restart. Get that launch and you'll be good to go till the very end.
Lights still on the pace car here at Darlington, and it has been a wild one thus far. We were originally scheduled just for 228 laps, but in our overtime period, we have extended that out. Should be projected to end on lap 234, which is just over 500 kilometers, and it has been long. It has been grueling for all of these drivers. Whoever comes out with this win, it is no question that is very deserving. For anybody curious, right now, laps time in the session, 2 hours, 54 minutes and 44 seconds. So we have been in this thing for the long haul, just about to eclipse 3 hours. And if we get another green-white checker here at the end of this thing, then we will be past that mark. So it has been very challenging for all these drivers at this point. It is what you come to expect out of Darlington, just a very demanding race, not only physically, but mentally as well.
And all that demanding that we've seen from Darlington in the real world, when you're in a night like this, it comes right over to the sim. Doesn't matter where you race Darlington, it's always going to be a tricky track. The mental struggle, the physical struggle, it all comes together here and now. And for Graham Bolin, he's outlasted over 230 laps of the Lady in Black. Can he tame this track and come home as the winner? That remains to be seen. Parker White, we've said it oh so many times. You've heard it oh so many times. He knows what it takes to win, and he's right there too. It's gonna be a duel for the victory, if not more, as the pace car comes in and the restart for the second time.
Is it Grant Bolin? Is it Parker White? Or is it somebody outside of this top two that'll come home with the checkered flag today? First step to finding out right here. Green flag and another great launch for Grant Bolin. Parker White still in tow behind Michael Guest. A little bit of a buffer on back as well. And if it holds like it is right now, it looks like it might be just Graham Bolin versus Parker White.
And Bolin gets exactly what he needs off of that restart. Great runoff and down the bowling back straightaway once again. He's got the lead by 0.15 of a second, just a little bit more. He'll take it to the white flag this time through and hope to make it official. Graham Bolin's got one lap to go and he'll take it to the white flag. Final lap here in Darlington.
Close call, but no wreck, and we are official here. Does Parker White have anything for Graham Bolin? He's right on that back bumper out of the exit of turn number 2. Down the back stretch for the final time. Parker White all over this back bumper. Does he have anything going into turn number 3? He's going to send it down, make contact with the bumper. He's going to move Graham Bolin. They're going to be side by side off turn number 4. Parker White going to spin. Oh, and they're both going to spin. Graham Bolin going to steal one at Darlington. What a finish.
And history will not be broken tonight. Instead, Graham Bolin comes through, wins the Kick in the Tires Southern 500K, and sometimes it all comes down to making that move, however risky, however aggressive. Bolin wanted it, and he gets it.
And what a finish there. It was Parker White. He got on that back bumper and just wasn't enough. Either way, Graham Bolin wins stage 1 and holds on to win the Kick in the Tires Southern 500K at Darlington Raceway, and just an absolutely grueling race. That number 93 machine gonna come home with it.
And
Unofficially,
burnt it down.
of course.
Looks like he's already done.
Yeah, I mean, we'll get a replay and break this down for you. So watch Parker White again on that back bumper, gets there, and then they're side by side. And Grant Bolin, I mean, I don't know there. Michael Guest almost gets there, but I don't know. Off turn number 4 there, I'm not sure if he just hit the transition and it turned the car down, or if he just turned there. Either way, it resulted in Parker White getting spun. Let's see here. I don't know.
With the win on the line, that's very hard to say. I mean, you could see they were both bobbling out of the corner number 4 there, so hard to make the call here. And we'll take a look at it again. You can, of course, look at it yourself as the viewers see.
And I mean, if you're Parker White, it's a classic old school bump and run right there, and you're hoping to just drag race to the line. But Parker White gets out of control, Graham Bolin gets out of control, and Parker White just goes around right there, and definitely not the finish that he deserved. But on board here with Bolin, and still, I don't know if that's the contact that gets him, or if it's just a hook down the straightaway. But I mean, that's what you come to expect out of Darlington. It's hard racing for the win, and
all that aggression, it boils over at the end of an absolutely exciting 500K and then some. 2 overtime finishes, and it all comes down to a huge battle for the win and some chaos at the very finish. Man, what a race that was.
And we'll speak with our top 3 here in a moment, and we will look at results. We stress unofficial results. Graham Bolin going to come home with a win at Darlington. Michael Guest. Quiet night for him, but he comes home in the second position. Dylan Basin third. Daniel Falkingham fourth after winning stage number 2. Landon Mills sneaks a top 5. What a great run for that 19 machine. Parker White, after being up front all race, comes home with a 6th position. Brandon Hawkins 7th. Drew Jua 8th. Sebastian Marin in the 9th position. Joshua Chin comes home with the 10th place. He'll round out your top 10.
And from there, you're going to see Chris Wetz in 11th with Cosmin Ionasu in 12th. Jonathan Oates holds his own for 13th with Justin Malillo, then in 14th. Going to be Ryan Narwaki then in 15th with Jonathan Oshalim in 16th and Matt Spalding then in 17th. Going to be Brian Mercurio then in 18th. 19th is Joseph Armstrong, and Jamie Ritchie Price will round out the top 20.
Garrett Conrath, Aaron Riolo, Jack Mace, Brian Sabilski, Paul Mikalajic, 21st through 25th. Art Reimer, 26th. Kevin McAdams, 27th. Michael P. Frisch, 28th. Seth Knoll, 29th. Scotty Smith rounding out your top 30.
From there on out, it'll be Lawson Peel 31st, David Brown 32nd, Brent Punkari 33rd, and Wyatt Tinsley then 34th, with Malik Ray 35th, Alex Kolnick 36th, Travis Beckner 37th, and Nate Stewart 38th. It'll be Brady Weileman at 39th, and 40th going to Logan Helton.
And Logan Helton, a tough run tonight. Devin Mistak, 41st. Daniel Budafuka, after starting on the front row, 42nd. Tyler Williams, 43rd. Sander Nyhoff, 44th, rounding out your field. And again, we mentioned there that we stressed unofficial results because there has been a change. And Michael Guest, you have just won the Kick in the Tire Southern 500K. What a run here for you, and explain what you were thinking that entire final run.
Yeah, this was a really long race, and to be completely honest, like I wasn't necessarily looking forward to it. I need to show up to make sure I make the playoffs, and I was just kind of along for the ride all race. I didn't really care where I finished besides just being in the race. I do want to mention real quick that me and Seth got into each other and ended up breaking his right front earlier in the race, so I haven't looked at it yet, but if that was my fault, I do really apologize for that. I know he's going for the playoff spot, and I don't like to mess with anyone when I'm not really going for anything right now. But yeah, I mean, I definitely wasn't the fastest tonight. It was really hard to get a run in, and I was saving my tires the whole race to try to get that long run, but we just never got it within the 228 laps. So I was just trying to get what I could. I got speeding a couple times, sent myself to the back, and it really took me all race to get up front. So I'm really happy that I was up there for that and put myself in the spot to take the win. I'll definitely take those playoff points. I definitely need them with how many Parker and the others have. So that's really nice. But overall, it was a pretty uneventful race for me. I was just kind of along for the ride.
And I mean, looking along right now, you pick up that win at Auto Club, second race of the year, then the World 600K at Charlotte, you get that win, and then now Darlington here tonight. So, I mean, technically 2 crown jewels for you heading into the playoffs. Got Daytona next week, and then on to our playoff gauntlet, and, you know, going to Bristol, Iowa, Talladega, the likes of those tracks. How do you feel about your chances going in there from what you've seen?
Yeah, somehow I've had really good luck at these crown jewel races from starting last year. I've won quite a few of them, and then don't win the rest of the season. But yeah, like I said, I definitely appreciate taking home the win tonight, even though I didn't cross the line first. But as far as the playoffs go, I'm really excited for it. It's been years since I've been able to get into the playoffs. I haven't made the playoffs in FTF because I never show up enough. So I'm glad I more or less locked myself into that now, and you know, I'm gonna try to make up the playoff points that I know I'm behind on some of the guys. A lot of the tracks in the playoffs are good tracks for me, so definitely looking forward to that. Just need to make sure I'm showing up every week and don't let myself fall behind, because that's what I've done for years and trying to change that this year.
Well, that's your winner, Michael Guest, and congratulations. We all know how hard of a drive that was for you. And, just a good drive for you all around tonight.
I appreciate it.
It's your winner in Michael Guest. Again, that'll should be an EOL for Grant Bolin, so that would move second place to Dylan Basin, who is with us now. And Dylan, we saw you involved in a few accidents early on. I mean, talk us through just how you were able to rebound and get up not only inside the top 5, but to sneak a second place finish out of all this.
I threw everything I had to get him back up there. Like I knew I had the pace almost literally the whole night. It's just every time I got closer up there, something happened. I got the penalty, the 30-second hold. I didn't help at all. And I kind of it's hard to pass here, especially on old tires. People are towards the back were less give and take than they were up front. So towards the end, I just started taking a bunch of 2-tire calls, and it got me up there. So glad I can get back to P2. I needed the points. Haven't had a good past few weeks. I haven't even really showed up for anything. So yeah, I'll take P2.
And coming into tonight, you find yourself 18th in points, and you have the win back at Texas. Can't quite fall back on it, though, just because of that starts requirement. But this will help you in terms of that points race. I mean, what's your mindset going into Daytona next week about trying to make the playoffs?
Just survive. I have the starts. I just need to say top 25 in points. That's the issue. So with it being 2007 Daytona, the next gen, I feel like those cars going to be a little wacky there. Just thinking about it. So I'm just going to try to survive and get a good finish towards the end like I did tonight. Because I got lucky tonight. All my wrecks, I think the most damage I got was like 12 seconds from them. So quite lucky, but I managed to rebound towards the end.
Well, that's going to be Dylan Basin. And again, like you said, survive tonight and going to have to take that same mindset into Daytona. Congratulations on that second place finish tonight. And hopefully we'll be talking with you after Daytona next week as well.
Alrighty, thank you.
Is Dylan Basin, and now your new third place finisher in Daniel Falkingham. He is with David.
And after putting some strategy together for the end of the second stage, holding off on those old tires and getting back on cycle, Daniel Falkingham, third place he come home with here, a nice and smooth third place finish, podium, kept the pace till the very end. How do you feel after this race?
Well, first of all, hello, David. I didn't know you were broadcasting tonight, so hello. It's kind of nice to do it the other way around, but yeah, it was good. Went off strategy there about early into the race, just because I was just sick of just riding in line, just doing what all the leaders are doing. So I figured I had to go off strategy and just do something different. It worked for me at the Glen. It's been working for me lately. I don't know why it just worked out, but I guess that's just FTF, I guess. But yeah. Thankfully, it all worked out. Managed to get a stage win, get some playoff points there, and come on with another podium. I think we led the most laps. We gained a few more points. I think we gained on Brian there in the regular season points, so that's going to be good. Try to get by him in the season points to get just those few more playoff points for the first round of the playoffs. Because like you said, no, you never know what can happen in the playoffs, so just getting all those points we can. And yeah, it was what a race. Just seemed like everything happened tonight, I guess.
And short of Indianapolis, your worst finish since your race win at Michigan, fourth. You've been ever consistent since that point and putting it together once again, taking a gamble to get those stage points paid off overall, and it looks like you kept it going till the very end. So how was it with that sort of last chance maneuver to get those points and converting it to an overall much better finish?
Yeah, well, at Indy, if my freaking wheel didn't die halfway through the race, I probably would have finished top 3 there too. So it was just, we've been on a roll since the summer break, man. I don't know if I just needed it that badly or what, but we've just been so consistent every single race and all that. And don't know what it is, but don't know. I feel like I'm finding some really good form. Don't feel like I've had this form all year. It's just first half of the year, just nothing went right, or I was always doing something wrong. Like I just wasn't driving as good as I am now, but just. Eventually, we're just finding something that works, I guess. So, yeah, don't know. We might have to keep pulling these stupid, weird strategies in the playoffs, and might be a way we can hopefully maybe beat Parker, because I know Parker has been so fast all year, and just everyone who races just seems to work out in my favor. But just feels good. It just feels good to be running at the front, racing with like Graham, Guest, Parker, Brian, all those guys up at the front. Just knows I can keep pace with them. Just knows I can just run my own race and everything just comes planned. So hopefully we can keep doing that for the playoffs. But I got to go enjoy Daytona next week before it all kicks off.
And momentum's big coming into Daytona, as you mentioned. One more race before the playoffs begins. What does it mean to go through Daytona, of course, knowing you're in such a good position to lock yourself into the playoffs?
It's always a great position, just because you know how these like plate races go. They never to go too well for me, but at least next week we can have some fun. Just go out, try to go get the win, see if we can get another win before the playoff starts. And yeah, just go like I said, go out have some fun, and yeah, maybe try to help some of our guys. Like I know Jack Mace, he's been working with us a lot of the season. Maybe try to help him get into the playoffs with a win, and just do all that kind of stuff. Maybe so. Yeah, just get to go do whatever we want, and just have some fun.
It's back-to-back podiums for Daniel Foggingham at the number 54 machine, and he puts it back here at Darlington, third place. Anything else you'd like to add?
Just thank you guys for broadcasting. Thanks for all the admins, for all they do. I know it was a bit of a mess tonight, but you're going to get that sometimes. Shout out to everyone watching. Proud to represent. This was my throwback for Coke, and it didn't make it even 7 laps in the Coke race. So figured we bring it back out for the throwback race, and glad we were able to get a podium out of it. So just a nice little shout out to JGR and Interstate Batteries right there. So yeah, feels pretty good.
And faring much better here, getting it done, podium finish to end off the Kick in the Tires Southern 500K. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.
That's Daniel Foggingham, your third place finisher after a chaotic night here in Darlington. And Caleb, I'll throw it back to you to finish this one off. What a race it was.
Yeah, an interesting one for sure. I'm going to actually throw it back to you here. I mean, closing thoughts out of what we saw at Darlington here tonight. I mean, it was a grueling one, and I won't speak for you, but we felt all 234 laps here for sure.
Absolutely, a lot of intense racing. We saw our fair share of yellow flags, saw those long green runs, and some intense lead battles. And here at Darlington, no matter the ability of the driver, you see some action. Doesn't matter if it's the front of the field or the rear. Everyone in the pack, no matter how long they lasted out here in the track, they gave us a show to remember. And even with that intense finish, overtime and all, we saw some great racing all throughout with some strategy mixed in, which leads us with one more round left in the regular season. And then we're off to the playoffs to crown us a champion.
234 laps tonight for the Barr Visuals FTF Cup Series at Darlington and the Kick in the Tires Southern 500K. Michael Guest, your winner here tonight. And like you said, what a race it was. Next Saturday night, going to be the playoff cutoff race at Daytona, round 26 of the Barr Visuals FTF Cup Series. Jacob Hitz and I will be there for that one. And again, that is here on twitch.tv/FTF_GG. Won't want to miss it. And I think that's really going to do it for us here tonight. Like you said, what a race it was. And Michael Guest, again, coming out of here with the checkered flag. I'm Caleb Hoffman, David Kreutz alongside me, Zach Johnson up in the production trailer. We hope you enjoyed tonight's coverage of the Kick in the Tires Southern 500K from Darlington. We'll see you next week at Daytona.